Alright, so it started recording, and hopefully everyone knows what's the credentials. So, I have to admit everyone from lobby. Did I change anything? Okay, in Webex. And Anamika is waiting in the lobby. Alright guys, so administrator at vsphere.local. Oh. So the username, password, just writing there in case anyone forgot or 5 got it. So please put those credentials here. I think Webex has increased some security, and I have to admit the students inside the Webex class. Alright guys, so please mute your mic. Thank you. Mute your mic. Thank you. Mute your mic. Alright. Let us go ahead. So Kim is saying someone cannot join. There's a problem. So Kim, tell the member to.
Hello, I was looking for you. You don't see me.
I'll have to mute everyone now.
Okay, you found go. Let's get it. Let's get it. Go. Yeah, my phone.
So you need to add them all. Yeah, I'm doing that. There's a permission thing coming here in Webex, and I'm just clicking admit, and then they are able to join. So I am seeing that. But 24 are added here. So everyone is able to hear my voice. All 24 of you are able to hear my voice. So I need 24 yeses here. So I'm counting now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 24. Okay, so they are all here. Yeah, that's my count. Okay, so as soon as somebody arrives, yeah, so I think Webex has added those, that it was not there before. So guys, let's try to connect to our vCenter. Hopefully we are all connected. It's a big, it's a 4 machine, so definitely try to start starting the machines 10 minutes before or 15 minutes before the class, always. So I'm just gonna take it down and administrator vsphere.local, and then small abc, capital ABC, shift 1 2 3, and without shift 1 2 3, and let us try to connect. So Sion is trying to come in. I click the admit button. He should be in now. All right, so once it is logged in, so what we were doing last time, we're going to talk about that, and then let us go ahead. Okay, all I can say is coming into the class. So now the whole vCenter is logged in, and hopefully everyone's logged into the whole vCenter, and then as long as I'm concerned, so all my machines are powered on. well, not all, but few of my machines are powered on. Okay, Mohammed Kamil and two other admit. Yeah, since everyone has gone online, so online attacks have been recorded, so that's why now WebEx, Zoom, and other remote software have increased their security. So as part of that security, I have to click admit to any student who was trying to connect to the class. So I would know who has connected. Alright guys, so if you're logged in here, so what we were talking about was VM management, and so this virtual machine management here would be, so yeah, I'll have to create that map in my diagram here. So our 4 machines here, and I think I had that diagram, initial diagram that was created. Yeah, so there it is, and I'll just copy that. So we have 4 machines here, and we have already created cluster, and we have already created configured the DRS and HA. We talked about all the features of that. Then we also talked about resource pools, and so the questions that I would like to throw at you. Oh, okay, there was another one where we already had all these names. So the questions that are coming to you are, what is a resource pool? So what does a resource pool do? So quickly, anyone can tell me, what does a resource pool do? The resource pool is responsible for what? And also, what is the main purpose of VApp? So resource pool, first of all. So resource pool to reserve capacity, CPU and memory. Okay, Baba Tunde says that, and Mayar says manage all resources for VM's group. All resources? What exactly that are the resources in when you say all resources? So Mariam says put limitation of RAM and CPU. Exactly. So it would be reserved for hardware of VMs, which is virtual hardware. So it's all the fight is going on between CPU and RAM. That's the first thing. What about VApp? What does VApp do? You know, 2 to 3 words. VApp, group VMs, to do what? Or like as they say, group VMs. Yes, that is good. Group VMs. To, oh, there you go. Start, stop, and restart. Start, restart, shutdown. Okay. And yeah, so collection of VM to power on off together. Exactly. So you guys are right. Control together or manage the VM group of VMs together. Manage the group of VMs together. You guys are sharp. That's good. So I wanted to throw a wild one at you, and that is DRS. Okay, HA needs vMotion for its successful operations. Is it? Oh man, I should not be putting that true false. Seriously, I wanted to save that for the Wednesday night quiz. What's wrong with me? So, okay guys, I need it. Okay guys, so it is false. Okay. HA needs vMotion for its successful operations. True or false? So everyone says false. Why? False vMotion needs. False vMotion needs. So Asanal said DRS. Okay. So DRS needs. Hey, did you all get that idea from when I was about to type DRS? No, I know you know that. So HA needs is, so it is false, but I should not go for more true or false. Now one question is less for me to ask in the Wednesday night quiz. So I should not be asking like this, but just wanted to make sure that you're good with all the concepts there. And again, eyes on the prize, and the prize is good job, right? So a better paying job would be the good prize for you, and be ready to give the exams, certifications, as we've talked about combinations before as well. Okay, so when it so because actually restart VMs on available host. Yeah, exactly. So DRS makes use of the vMotion. HA cannot make use of the. Okay, so then another question. Oh man, no. I want to save it for guys. I want to save it for the exam. I was gonna ask another one, true false, but then yeah, you would just be all. You will take 100% marks on quiz. If everyone is 100%, so then the management will think something wrong with me. So I have to be very brutal and tough on quiz. Okay, so let's go ahead, guys, and try to understand what's today's scenario here. Oh yeah, that's another good one. Just ask now and no exam then. Cool. And marks will be half for everyone. No exam means half marks, right? So it will be. Oh yeah, sure. So no problem. Half marks, no problem. Okay. 100% meant you're a great teacher. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I hope administration thinks that way. That 100% is good. But this means I may have given very simple questions as well. They go for the negative side of that. Okay, so let's go ahead. Oh yeah, you're right. So okay, guys, here, but that the very good ideas are coming from your side. Now we need to go for VM management, and that is so we are up to speed now, and we were talking about VM management. So one thing that was remaining was that we need to create a clone out of template machine. So 75. Let's settle for 75. Right, man. You guys are good for bargain, right? You're bargaining group. So that's good. But guys, here VM management. So we were going for some of the options there. Let's go to vCenter and search where is our template machine. So let's start our template machine and then make a clone of that, right? So let's start our template machine and let's make a clone of that. So we can do that, right? So let's go to the vCenter first of all. Hopefully everyone's logged in. Imani says no. You sure, Imani? We cannot do that. Alexei said that. Okay, so everyone sees this option here, VMs and templates. Mulin is still out. Oh, okay. So VMs and templates. So now if everyone's on the template, which is VM05-template, then VM05 template, and then what we need to do. Oh, he's asking to add in group. Munir, tell him to just click that up icon of that URL in WhatsApp. Why is he not coming on WhatsApp? Because you all did that, right? You don't have to do anything else. So there is nothing else to do. So that's the link in the group. Munir is added in the group, obviously. So he has to just click that, right? Okay, guys. So we were talking about VM05-template, and then once you are in the template, so we can right click on the template, right? So try to go for right click on the template And once you click the template, right click on the template here, then on the top you can see new VM from this template, convert to virtual machine, clone to template, and clone to library. So library is just kind of file server for the VMware environment, which is connected to any shared folder that is shared from either Windows machine or a Linux machine. That is called library. Obviously you can just save files there for later use. So what we are seeing here is new VM from this template can be cloned as well. Convert to virtual machine, we don't need that because we need to update if whenever we want to update the template, then we do that. So I'm going to go up there to new VM from this template, right? New VM from this template, error 404. So yeah, try to start the machines. So shutdown E6i2 just to free up some memory, and or E6i1 as well, and restart server 2 and just make sure that all the memory is given to that, and give it 10 minutes and then log in. And Tosin saying I'm completely out. What does that mean? So please do elaborate. And okay, cool. So here, new VM from this template, guys. Once you click that, new VM from the, and guys, you will never miss anything. It's just that if we cover more of the topics here in the course, that would be better. So follow the video if you're left behind. So here, what we're trying to do is create a clone from a template. I wanted to show you some more features there when you are creating a template. Clone from a template. So what I did was I right clicked the template here and I just went for the top option here, new VM from this template, and then there is that new virtual machine, and you can go for whatever name is remaining, your first name, Vm06 I guess, or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, whatever. So so Tosin just try to shut down E6i2 to free up some more memory. It just needs more memory to start all the services. Our hardware is very limited. So, and try to free up memory with any application you can, end task from task manager. Okay guys, so your first name Vm06 here, and then there is next. Let's click the next here for Tor DC. Okay, Mustafa is also having some issues. So guys, try, if possible, try to start the machines half an hour before the class. So because with less memory, it's going to have a lot of issues. If it has a lot of memory, then normally issues are not there. So select a compute resource. You're gonna again, I'm just saying that you're not gonna miss anything. You can follow up in the video as well. But if you don't do the lab in the class, then yeah, we're all gonna miss a lot. So Tor cluster here, and compatibility check succeeded, and then next we're getting a clone here, right? But I just wanted to show you some extra features of the clone here that you should see at least once. So I'm just selecting any of the LON based data stores here. I'm going for no reason, particular reason, to DS1. So DS1 LON 1, DS0 LON 0, DS2 LON 2, and then click next. And then guys, the main thing is to understand the select clone options. So those who are trying to do the troubleshooting can also try to understand, because it's not compulsory to do the lab with me. If you have errors, just put and take a screenshot of the errors, guys. So if you are not able to take screenshots to upload to the lab, you can just put that error screenshots there. Okay, so customize the operating system. There's that option. Then customize this virtual machine's hardware. It's still experimental. And then power on virtual machine after creation. So let's go for the first option here, which is customize the operating system. We just need to explore all the options of customization, right? You cannot see the template. Shiva is saying, are you on the second VMs and templates blue iconed tab there? And you should be able to see the template, Shiva. It is in the blue iconed VMs and templates here. And otherwise, you can quickly right click any working machine and clone a template option is there, or create a template option. Just create one new one there. Okay, cool. Okay, guys, so here, customize operating system, and then click next. You must click the customize operating system option and click next. Then you see here this create a new specification. See this? Create a new specification. So there's that create a new specification here. So once we click that, so it will open a new window for you. Create a new specification will open a new window for you. And this new window says that, hey, can you give me a customized certificate? Oh, not certification, seriously. Specification. Can you create a customized, a specification for the virtual machine? So it's kind of a document that we're about to create. Maybe some of you may have heard about answer file. Anyone knows what is the purpose of an answer file? Ever heard of answer file or created one? What is the purpose of answer file? The answer file purpose of that is normally it's when you create a clone. So suppose you have here one big server and you have 50 desktop Windows 10 machines, but these desktops are all your company just bought the desktops, right? 50 empty desktops. So what you want to do is that suppose you take out one desktop, you install here Windows 10 here, and then you install all the applications like MS Office and everything. The boss says that install all those applications and Windows 10 in all the other 49 desktops as well, right? So what happens is that you create an image of a perfectly working Windows 10 machine here, and when you create that image, you upload it here. So if you want to deploy that image to all the other empty desktops over the network, so when the image is fully deployed, they will restart finally, and all the apps and Windows 10 will be already installed in all other empty machines. But where is the answer file used for? Answer file is used for when you are deploying the image. First it installs the Windows, then when it's installing the Windows there, so it will stop at, okay, what is the region, then it will stop at what is the key, then it will stop at do you want to make here partitions, and it stops at different things, right? Whenever you install a Windows, it happens, right? Oh, Mariam says, sorry, could you repeat this part? Okay, so I was just talking about answer file here. What is answer file? And I'm explaining that because then I can relate it to what we are talking about here. So what this answer file does, suppose you have 50 desktops, empty machines here, and you have a certain server here like Windows WDS server, that is Windows Deployment Server, WDS, right? So what it does is that it can deploy images on empty machines over the network. That's what WDS does, right? So you have 50 desktops, empty desktops from Dell, and the boss says that you need to install Windows 10 and all the applications like MS Office, WinZip, McAfee, and all others, Adobe Acrobat. So you install in one of the empty desktops all the operating system and applications. Then you take an image of the C drive where all the OS and applications are installed on one desktop. Then you take that image and upload it to WDS server, right? So once you upload that image on WDS server, now you need to deploy that image. When you are deploying this image on other empty desktops, so when first the OS installs, then the applications installed. So when the OS installs, it might stop at, hey, what is the key? And it might stop for all 49 desktops here, right? At the OS level. What is the name of the machine? What is the region? East region, East Coast region, right? So when you deploy an operating system, you understand that it is what it does, right? Or what it asks. So if it asks for the key and it stops, then you have to go there and put the key. Then the other one asks, hey, put key for me as well. You go there and put the key. Suppose all 49 have stopped at this, that put a key there. So either you will go to every system one by one and put the key and press OK, or they can grab all this information from an answer file that is over the network. So answer file is just filled up like that. So if the OS will ask the key, then the OS is told to go to the answer file over the network, and it has the key. So it will get the key automatically, and it will automatically go ahead. Then when they ask that what is the keyboard, US keyboard, so answer file has the answer, yes, US keyboard. When they stop at what's the name of the machine, so answer file has the name of the machine. So the thing is, it automates all the installation of the rest of the uh, empty machines that are being installed with operating system. So answer file simply makes it automated. Otherwise, you have to go to each machine and put those information there. Instead, answer file just automates everything, right? I hope we understand what I'm talking about. So answer file over the network answers all the questions that the applications are going to ask and stop for that. So answer file will not let them stop, and your all machines will just automatically install. We do that normally in MCSA course as well by installing WDS. So now why are we discussing that here? Uh, so here, this customization specification is one document that during the cloning process you can create one customized document which asks that what is the registration information, set computer name, enter Windows license, set administrator password, time zone, run once, configure networking options, do you want to join it to domain or you want to keep it to work group, set operating system options. So these are all options. Once it is asking, hey, you want to go for customization, you want to create kind of an answer file, then next time when you create a clone, you can just use this document, and all the information within this document will be available for the next clones. For the first time, you have to create it yourself, right? So also it says that use custom sysprep answer file. It says that here as well. So sysprep, anyone? Uh, okay, so Mohammed Kamil is saying, could you share one answer file sample? Uh, so there will be two answer files normally. Normally there are two answer files that we create. It's in MCSA. Now right now I have to dig it out from my but you can just email me that, hey, can you send me an answer file sample, or better, you see the whole lab of how to create from WDS server an answer file, right? How to create an answer file. I have normally that's in MCSA class. I show how to create an answer file with a, it's a 4-hour lab. It's a big one. So just email me that, hey, I need can you share the lab with me where you create an answer file. So I'll just share that lab with you, right? So you can just email me. All right, guys, let's go ahead. So here customization specification. So we can just put clone dash specification dash your first name. So go for clone dash specification dash your first name, and at the end of it, when the summary comes, then we're going to take a screenshot. So let's just put clone dash specification dash your first name. I'm just going to make that full screen here. Clone that dash specification dash first name. Hopefully everyone has put in that information, and click next. Let us click next. So once you click next here, so it's asking for name and organization. Now we're not going to use this whole custom document here. I'm just showing you how to create one, right? We're not going to actually use that for next clones because we don't have an operating system inside. So obviously it's going to, if you use that clone right now, which we're about to create the clone, it's going to give you an error because there is no operating system inside, right? So even with operating system, you have to be careful with all the configuration. So right now, if we go for name, suppose that's just Toronto or sales department, sorry, sales DEPT. That's the name, and organization name, some company name here. Suppose it's the company name here. So name, sales department, VM, or whatever name you want to come up with. So Shiva says, I cannot find this option. Oh, okay, Shiva, you were... so right click on template, Shiva, and then go for the first option, new VM from template. And then you will keep on clicking until you go for clone options, and you have to click customize this VM. Right? Customize this VM. Are you able to find it or not? Okay, so I have to go ahead if you're not responding. So, okay, sales department, company name, and then click next. And there's that set computer name here. And set computer name. Okay, I'm trying. Thank you. Okay, cool. So, so enter name. It's just asking for that you want to enter name of this machine, and what about the future clones there as well. Suppose you go for VM 001, right? So if that's a clone name here, so it can also go for append a numeric value to ensure uniqueness. So if we select that, so what happens is if you put VM 001 or 01, so last two digits it will keep on changing for the next clones, right? Last two digits it will keep on changing automatically for the next clones that you create there. So VM 01, 02, 03, 04, 04, if you click that append a numeric value to ensure uniqueness. Or there is an option use the virtual machine name. If the name exceeds 15 characters, it will be truncated. So just the virtual machine name that you have put back there for the virtual machine. And then or you can also go for enter a name in the clone deploy wizard. So that would be then if you're going for the deploy wizard or clone wizard. So that is the clone wizard. That's the other one where you can also create clone. Actually, this is the one that normally you can deploy clone as well, but we are inside the customization. Remember that there was a new window open, so this is just a new window. Otherwise this was the clone wizard if we had not gone to the customization, right? So VM01 and append a numeric value to ensure uniqueness, and then click next. So append a numeric value for to ensure uniqueness. That this is normally the option that administrators do click. So I'm gonna click next here, and then product key. Obviously you have to purchase a $300 Windows to get that product key. So let's do that. So take out your credit cards now, and go to Windows site and purchase a new license of Windows Server 2012 or 2016, and then get the key and put the key here. And I need a screenshot, and especially I need a screenshot for that you spent $300 to just fill out this option in our test lab. Okay, I'm just kidding. So okay. Oh, Baba 20 says I have a key. Let's not say that word. Okay, so yeah, you have the key. That's it, right? Then no exam. Oh man, seriously. Okay. Hey, exam is for think of it as it will help you in the interview, because suppose the interviewer asks you about DRS and all this, so exam will just make it stronger concepts for you. Okay guys, so product key we don't have, so include server license information required for customizing a server OS as OS here. I'm gonna uncheck that, include server license information. I'm gonna uncheck that, right? So Mustafa is saying, how did you enter this session? Mustafa, did you right click on VM05 template machine? You know what guys, there are two students who are asking me. I'm going to cancel out from here. You can stay there, please stay there, please stay there. I'm just asking Shiva and Mustafa are stuck. So see this, Mustafa, are you on VM05 template? I'm going to show you again. Right click here on the template, go for new VM from this template, and then you just have to put the machine name, your first name, VM00 or 06, I think in my case, and then select the Tor DC here, and 06, and select the Tor DC here, next, and then here just select Tor cluster and next, and select some storage here, DS1, DS0, whichever, and next. Maybe Shiva is already there, so Mustafa, you can check that. So select it, but here on this page, the second last page, select one options, and there is that customize operating system. Customize the operating system. So let's click that. Next, you must select this customize operating system and click next. And now you have to select this operating system document, right? This one. Once you click that option, this is where we are working. So that's why it's so hidden that those who are having issues and then they come back after those resolving those issues and they are not able to know where we are. So and then we just went for what was the name of the template? New dash customization and your first name here, right? Well, so new customization on and your first name, and then click next. New dash customization your first name, new dash customization your first name, and then we go for name, and that was sales DEPT, and then we went for organization, which is company name. That's it. So sales DEPT is the name, organization, you can just put anything here, and sales DEPT name, organization, company name, then next, and we put there VM001, and then append numeric value. So we talked about that already. Clone specification first name. Okay, Tajinder is saying that correct name there. You can just select that, and append a numeric value. Thank you, Tajinder. So VM001 and append a numeric value, and then click next. So we're here where we're not putting the product key, and uncheck the include server license information required for customizing a server guest OS. So product key, nothing here. Include server license information required for customizing a server guest OS. So just uncheck that. Nothing here, guys. So let's click next. Now the password, obviously we should give a password, but we're not going to be actually creating that clone. We're just understanding that these are the options here that are in the customization, right? But you can still put some password, small ABC, capital ABC, shift 123, small ABC, capital ABC, shift 123. We know that there is no operating system here, right? And the password must match. Automatically log on as administrator. This is also good. Number of times to log on automatically. Suppose first time it does not log in for some reason, so you can just increase or the number as well. That try 3 times or try 5 times or try 10 times to log in from the administrator. Okay, she was trying to connect. Admit. So password, confirm password, and automatically log on as administrator. So that's okay, and then click next. So let's click next. So there's that GMT time zone. So go for our time zone, which is Alaska. So let's go for that. And it's really cold outside. So I'll just go for Eastern. Hey, what's Eastern? Did I miss it? Seriously? It is -5 Eastern. There you go. Eastern time, US and Canada. So here, once we are on the Eastern, next. So then it gives the option of enter a new command, run once, enter a new command, and that is suppose you are logging in from a machine. Suppose it's 100 machines, 100 clones that you're logging in from, and when they log in, you can just run some script that can actually. Ariwala is waiting to be kept in the lobby. Admit. So yeah. So you can put some commands there that can run automatically. That's the main thing here. Suppose you log in and you want to run automatic script here that is for creating some folders automatically, to map some shared folders automatically, to publish or map some printers automatically. So you can just run a script for all the machines. So those scripts you can just put here. So other than that, if you click next, then configure network, and yes, you can just give network. Suppose you want to add to all these clones 3 or 4 virtual network cards here, and they should all get it from DHCP, so you can do that. So networking configurations can be configured for all the clones from here, and click next. And there's that work group, Windows Server Domain. So obviously you want the machine to join to domain. You can just put all the credentials. It will automatically join. Suppose there were 100 clones there. They should all be joined to the domain. So yes, they do join the domain. And so from this option, we understand that, okay, they're going to join the domain if we put all the correct credentials and the correct domain name. Let's click next. And then that's one of the most important options there, and that is generate new security ID or SID. So sysprep does it as well, and sysprep will be run for this clone in the background to give it a unique SID or security identifier. Remember in the start of the class, we created a template machine and ran sysprep on that. So it is that. So select this item to generate a new security identity. And yes, so that's what the clone is supposed to have at the end. Sysprep need to be run for every clone that is created. So yes, it is selected already, and then click next. And guys, here take a screenshot of ready to complete. So take a screenshot where your name is actually appearing on the top here already. So take a screenshot number 1, options for creating a clone. So take a screenshot number 1, options for creating a clone. Take a screenshot number 1, options for creating a clone. So I'll just put that so I'll just put the name of the screenshots. So screenshot 1, creating options for creating a clone. Options for creating a clone. Options for creating a clone. So I hope everyone has taken a screenshot, or if you were not able to, then just take a screenshot of the error that is not letting you take the screenshot. Okay, so but guys, do remember that we are just exploring the options. We're not going to be creating a clone as a result of this document, but you know that this document exists and this is how we configure it, right? So once you have taken the screenshot number 1 here, then click finito. Let's click finito here, finish. And now it comes back to that wizard. So there was a wizard inside a wizard, right? Nested wizard, we can also say. That now starts the other wizard where we were just creating a clone, deploy from template, right? This option, we were creating a clone out of the template, right? So Babadan says, what if I need 20 clones at the same time? So then there are scripts, Babatunde, for from GUI. This is one customization here. Otherwise, normally there are VMware scripts there from the VMware knowledge base that you can simply run to create a clone using this document here, right? So, but this is just one clone with GUI that you can create. Normally, it's scripts inside, which you can go for AWS or VMware CLI, right? So and that's a good question. So I'm just trying to give you a document from on the other screen. I'm just trying to create that. So working with templates and clone, and I'll just share a document with you, and that would be third-party tools as well. And also, okay, there are so many third-party tools out there that will show you. So if I just drag this Google search here, so I just went for exactly your question: how to create 20 clones with vCenter from template. And after that, working with templates and clones, it goes for. But normally there are third-party tools. Nekivo has that, and then creating multiple VMs from existing vSphere. So there are so many of those options there. Normally we use script in production environment, but you can go for third-party tools as well as the built-in. Oh wow, that documentation is so good. Actually, it's for vSphere 4 that it just gave me 404. So the thing is that I'll try to either dig out the script from my script repository, which I have to search which external drive I put it. Otherwise, yeah, if you go to the documentation they have, or you Google it, there's a lot of scripts there. Okay guys, so let's click next. So select a customization specification from the list. So we have to select this here to go for customization. And yeah, So I'm just gonna select that customization and click next. Now this is gonna obviously give an error because there is no operating system inside, and it required the key as well, which we unchecked actually. We didn't put any key there as well. So this is just to explore some options in the customized guest OS. It's the customized guest OS, right? So let's click finish here, and it's gonna stop creating, or it's gonna give error. Ignore that error. So but we understand that, okay, from template what we can do is so it gave me an error right away, but let's ignore that error because we were just trying to check that what are the options in the customization, right? And that's a lot of options there that later you can use with a operating system based virtual machine, right? It was also saying about TPM, Trusted Platform Module, which is Microsoft Vista TPM or TM. It's not TPM, sorry. So, but it's just giving compatibility issues there. Now, if we go to the template machine again and right click again, so once you click finish, that's what we wanted to know here. But once we click finish, so this is a template machine, and there is that convert to virtual machine. Anyone remembers what was this option for? Convert to virtual machine. Anyone remembers what was this option for? Anyone remembers what was this option for? Update our template. Yeah, exactly. So good money. Updating the setting. Exactly. Good. So it is to update this template. Suppose you create that template after hard work. You installed all the MS Office, Adobe Acrobat, WinZip, McAfee, all the applications that were required in the server, and then you deploy that. After one month, when you deploy another clone for suppose marketing department, so marketing department guy says, and hey, when we start the server, the updates are from 1 month back. Did you not update that? So then you go to template machine, and that's what you're going to do. You can just convert to virtual machine. Suppose MS Office needs updates, McAfee needs updates, and antivirus signature and Windows operating system needs updates. So you would convert to virtual machine and do that, right? So let's simply, this is a template machine, right? So we can just simply click here, convert to virtual machine. So let's go ahead and do that, convert to virtual machine. Let's click this. Right click on, you already have right click on the template. Let's convert it to a virtual machine. So the wizard starts for that too. Suppose you want to go for update. So then expand the Tor DC and then Tor cluster. So click the Tor cluster after expanding the Tor DC and click Tor cluster. Yes, this template will then be gone. Yeah, but we just need to go through it once because you may have to do that again and again. So Tor cluster here and click next. That's it. See, that's a very simple wizard. Obviously, it's just converting this to a actual working virtual machine. So let's click finish here. So it's going to complete then that configuration. So it has become a virtual machine now, right? So if it has become a virtual machine successfully, that's good. So let's take a screenshot of where you can see the completed here of VM05 template, and it is actually showing the icon has changed from the white icon to a blue icon, which means white icon was for template machine, blue icon is for virtual machine. So converted template to VM is the name of the screenshot number 2. Converted template is still there. Tajinder says template is, so Tajinder, do you see white icon there? So refresh. No, the name will not change. The template itself is now a virtual machine, Tajinder, but name will remain the same. Whatever you named the template, the name will remain the same, but it's now actually a virtual machine. It's not a template, right? So if you right click and go to power, so there was no power option there in template, but in a virtual machine, it's a virtual machine. It will do whatever virtual machines do, right? So take a screenshot of this and convert it template to a VM. Take a screenshot of this, convert it template to a VM, right? Take a screenshot of this, convert it template to a VM. So I'll just put that name here. Converted template to a VM All right. Okay, so that's converted template to a VM screenshot 2, and if you have created that screenshot, let's go back. Now, guys, there is another mucho importante topic here. Mucho importante, right? Okay, so that's the topic is FT. Now that FT is, in fact, what is FT? Some of us, very few of us will know already what is FT. But let's talk about it. And FT is, there you go, Cylinder knows that. Fault tola. Okay, Kushal says false tola. But it's fault tolerance, it's true false. 1000 says fault tolerance. Okay, yeah, everyone's good. So that's very good. So pretty much everyone, hey, you did that course already. What are you doing here then? No, okay, just kidding. So fault tolerance, tolerance, and one of you was asking me to give the exam, so I salute that person. I forgot the name, but you should all be ready to give the VMware Certified Professional exam with a 70% discount voucher. Woohoo! If we get it. Okay, again, woohoo! Okay, so here, FT, fault tolerance, and then what is normal till May end? Kushal, did you ask that? Checked yesterday. Oh, from who? The VMware administration? No, from online. Okay. Oh, okay. Guys, I will try to do some things. Okay. So, but right now, let's understand fault tolerance. Okay. So there's our environment. We have the three LANs there and the data stores there over the SAN, and there's that fault tolerance. So first of all, what is the purpose of fault tolerance? So it can tolerate a fault. Oh, okay, I broke my joint. Okay, so it can tolerate a fault. So first thing about fault tolerance is that there is zero downtime. Wow, that's a big thing to claim, right? So HA says high availability, and it's kind of not true high availability, like there is downtime in HA, but it says that this there is zero downtime here, right? Zero downtown Toronto. Okay, no, zero downtime, and that zero downtime means that if the users are connected, end users are connected, and the whole ESXi host goes down in the background on top of which the virtual machine was working, so end users will not know, and they will keep on working on that virtual machine whose host has just crashed, shut down, right? Not coming back, right? So how does this get configured? How can this happen? So first of all, the design or the diagram here, your virtual machine is loaded on the memory here. Your virtual machine's virtual disk is added to the data store, LAN based data store here, and so that's VM, that's vdisk, VM vdisk, and in that what we are trying to go for. So VM and vdisk, then it is loaded on memory, right? Loaded on RAM, right? This, so whenever you start, it just loads on RAM, right? After starts, it just loads on RAM. So now in fault tolerance, what happens is that you create a passive partner of that VM. Now in our I do that this lab in NetPlus college as well. That's in Scarborough, but there they have like 32 GB RAM and all the i7 quad core processors, but 32 GB RAM, right? So that RAM is so helpful. Now we have to pull this stunt in our current configuration, but what happens is that first you create, okay guys, let me just give me 2 seconds. Alright guys, so yeah, my one of the kids was really screaming at the top of his lungs. So I told him, hey, I'm gonna close your internet. Okay, anyway, so what we were talking about, that you're going to create, so we already have some virtual machines here, right? So this VM here will be the active VM, right? And this VM here will be the passive or standby VM. So standby VM. And then what happens here is that the active VM will get all the clients. So all the end user connections will be received by active VM, right? So all users are working. So anyone can tell me what is passive doing while the active is working and all the changes are going on. All end users are connecting here to the shared folder, and they are saving and opening files there, making changes there. While active is really busy, what is passive and standby doing there on the other side? Okay, Kushal says updated. Mahmood says mirror. Shiva says sync. Jack says data sync. Learning. Tosin says learning. So the passive VM is among us as well right now, learning. Yeah, but anyway, I understand what you're saying. I'm just kidding. So exactly, you guys are all right here. So the VM, whatever changes are being done on the active one are being synchronized to the passive and standby machine, right? So is that, what type of synchronization is that? Anyone can tell me that as well? What type of synchronization is that? Man, I'm asking all those questions that, okay, I'll twist it in the quiz, so hopefully you understand. Oh, Kushal is like, okay, so Imane says, oh, Shiva says async. Imane says real time. Kushal says asynchronous. Mahmood says async. Kim says memory. Meyer says async. Tosin says it depends. Depends on what? So guys, what is the difference between async Ronus replication? Oops. Replication. So guys, also one more thing here. If you see some advertisements on the job course, so just ignore that if you're not interested. But it's just some emails that I sent to all others who are joined. There's a lot of students joined there, right? Okay, asynchronous and replication, and then there's synchronous replication. Anyone can tell me the difference between the two? Because you just said async, right? So remember that you have E6i, E6i1, E6i2 in your LAN environment. First thing. Second thing is virtual machine, active virtual machine is in one hypervisor host, and the passive standby virtual machine is in another hypervisor host. So okay, so yeah, Shiva is saying real time, or Imane said real time, then Shiva, you said async. You're changing now. So synchronous and asynchronous, what's the difference? First we need to know that. Asynchronous is there's a delay in replication, right? Mostly used in WAN, but also can be used in LAN. But in LAN, what is normally used is real time, which means same time replication. So that is used only in LAN, where you have a lot of bandwidth. So more bandwidth, I'm sure I discussed that before as well. More bandwidth is there, and more bandwidth is there. So it's real time, first thing. And then second thing is it is used on LAN, more bandwidth, zero downtime, right? More bandwidth and zero downtime are some of the features there. So synchronous is always real time, guys. So asynchronous is delay in replication. So will it be an asynchronous replication here or synchronous replication? Can you tell me that now, after talking about what is this and what is that, right? So what would it be, synchronous or asynchronous? Do you believe it will be async or sync? Sync is real time. Memo is saying store forward real time. Store forward real time. Store forward is different. Real time. Store forward is, yeah. So store forward is the opposite of real time, exactly. And it should be sync. It's over LAN, yes. So it is not async. It's gonna be synchronous. It's not gonna be asynchronous. Asynchronous is used in cloud, right? You're talking cloud there, AWS. So two regions, they have data cross-region replication in S3 bucket, right? So it would be asynchronous replication between the two regions there, right? Suppose the data centers in one availability zone, they are really near to each other, so they can even go for synchronous replication. Otherwise, normally between availability zones also it's asynchronous, unless they have very good network there, right? So it's always synchronous within LAN and it's async within WAN. But what are the other benefits of that? Real-time LAN and more bandwidth. This also means it requires more bandwidth, and the other benefit is zero downtime. Zero downtime. Why zero downtime? Because it's same time replication. As soon as it is happening on the active machine, that same change at the same time is happening on the passive machine. That requires a lot of bandwidth, so you need to have separate network cards specific for this, because it's gonna require a lot of bandwidth. So suppose but real time will take a huge bandwidth. Yes, Kushal, it will take huge bandwidth. That's why it has to be on LAN. And second thing is, why did I ask you to add the network cards there? In a production environment, you must have multiple network cards whenever you see virtualization, and it's not whenever, you will always now see only virtualization, or 90% of the machines are on a virtualized solution of Microsoft Hyper-V or VMware ESXi, but more will be on VMware ESXi. So this sterilized samosa shaped thing is called network card here. So that NIC so that will be PNIC or physical NIC here, PNICs or physical NICs, right? So now those physical NICs will be used for different purposes. Now remember that we had used for vMotion a set of one separate physical NIC or two separate physical NICs. So for configuring fault tolerance, we're still going to need some separate physical NICs here. So just to have that bandwidth requirements met with separate physical NICs here connected to a separate switch outside, and with all the heartbeats that's going on, and then connected to another NIC with a separate switch, physical switch, right? So that's why you're going to use separate physical switch for the same thing. Now, next question to you is, suppose we have 50 virtual machines. Is it a good idea to, configure fault tolerance for all 50 virtual machines or not? So, so Munir, no. Okay, Munir send a picture, Shahzad's personal room on. You can join the meeting after the host admits you. Oh, there you go. Wow. I hope Munir is here. Calling all Munirs. Calling all Munirs.
I am finally back.
Alright. Okay.
Guys, are you all okay?
Yes, I am okay, and all Munirs are okay, right? That's very good.
Munir is still alive.
Alright.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, guys. So.
And you guys, how much I have missed?
Oh, that's very much and too much. So, and let us now continue. We were talking about FT, fault tolerance, and hey, Kushal, you already are going for break here, right? So, did you eat a lot or did you drink a lot today? So, well, a break is not due 1 hour before 1 hour. Oh, okay. Oh, that's what you're saying. That Munir will ask for it. Okay. So, hey guys.
Yeah. Don't worry. I will ask for the break at around 7:54.
Okay. So that's your job, and we were all missing. Yet, where's Munir to ask for break, right? So
yes, sir. I'll do that.
Alright, guys. So let's go ahead and try to. There's that zero downtime here, fault tolerance, zero downtime. So we were talking about. So the question was that can you put fault tolerance on? Suppose there were 50 machines on E6i1. Should we put configured fault tolerance for all 50 machines? And you said no, right? So why not? Can anyone tell me why not? You would configure fault tolerance for all 50 machines. Suppose there were 30 machines, or suppose there were 20 machines. Why would you not put fault tolerance for all those machines? Suppose you have a lot of bandwidth available, but so LAN bandwidth, first thing, suppose you have too much overhead, okay, and so you're saying that LAN bandwidth, too much overhead, it will be costly and high bandwidth will be required. So mainly, yes, high bandwidth. So the next point here would be that need a lot of resources, exactly. So we can just say that only critical VMs should be configured with FT. So only critical VMs are supposed to be configured with FT here. And then next thing is that there should be no so can we share okay, first one, only critically will get FA. Yeah, exactly right. So Mevin's saying, can we share VMs in FT? Share VMs. You mean vMotion VMs? Because inside the VM, if you have any operating system, you can make shared folders there, and yes, you can. But share the whole VM.
I mean to ask that if we are just configuring fault tolerance for two machines, two VMs will be getting replication on one machine, one fault tolerance machine. Can it be done? Two active machines and one passive machine.
Oh, you mean one active and two passive?
Two active and one passive.
No, one active and two passive. That's what you mean, right? So one will be always active.
No. Because we are not going to have 20 machines, all 20 machines. So we will just have like 4 or 5 passive machines which are sharing all the resources or everything from the active machines. So if any of the active machine will goes off, then that other machine will take over.
Okay, so guys, please mute your mic, guys, please. Okay, so how it works is that you can have, first of all, what you're asking is that two active and one passive. So two active machines can share their data with one passive. That never happens. So yeah, this is not possible, first of all. Second thing is that you can have, what you can have. So what you cannot have is two active machines sending data to one passive. That is not done yet, and it's not feasible as well. Each one active machine is critical, first of all, right? So why two critical machines should be sending data to one VM? Suppose the two critical machines are down, that one VM will okay, so the two critical machines are down. So it's not, first of all, it's not possible, or it should not be done. Even if it's technically possible, it should not be done, right? So, to save resources, okay, I get that. But no, this is not the way to do it. If it's critical, you have to have either one passive partner of that active VM, or you can have multiple passive partners of the one active VM, right? So that is common practice as well. In Exchange Server, we normally have databases there for mailboxes, for email boxes, right, in Exchange Server. So you can have 16 passive copies of that email box database. That is called mailbox role, right? So all the databases in the mailbox role, each database can have 16 copies, or 2 copies, or 3 copies, or 4 copies. But yes, this is how it is done, but not the other way. So two active in one passive is actually not good for critical machines, for the security of the critical machines, and high availability. So yeah, but what is possible is you can have two active machines, two passive machines instead of one passive machine. Okay, so that's the answer for that. And what was so yeah, now there should not be SPOF. There should not be a SPOF in your fault tolerance. So anyone can tell me what is SPOF? Mr. SPOF, can you write our spaceship? You're the captain, SPOF. Okay, single point of failure, exactly. SPOF so is single point of failure. Baba 20 said that. Mehmet is also saying single point of failure. So SPOF, and Mariam also says that. Single point of failure, now that should not be there. So what happens here is the virtual machine needs to, yeah, and Shiva says everything should be 2. Exactly. So there should not be 2 or more. So single point of failure. So what happens inside your FT then? So it used to happen that if you have 2 virtual machines, one is active, one is passive, they do need to have a data store in the background, right? So till 6.0 version, what used to happen was that the virtual machines are on separate hypervisors. That's good, right? But you could technically create a virtual machine on the same data store, the virtual machine and its virtual disk on the same data store for the active machine, and you can create its passive standby partner machine on the same data store as well. So that data store obviously is a SPOF. If that data store goes down, so the passive machine's virtual disk and all files were also there, so that one data store crashed or not able to be connected, you lose both virtual machines, and that was single point of failure. So from VCP 6.0, 6.5, 6.7 onwards, so what happens now is that you must create passive or standby virtual machine on a separate data store here. So even on the data store level, you should not have a SPOF. So active machine on any one data store cannot have its passive machine files on the same data store. It's not gonna let you do that, right? So it will give you an error right away that okay, that this is not allowed, and go look for another data store now, passive machine, right? So single point of failure must not be there on any level. So even on the data store level, so you have separate host for the virtual machine. That's not enough. You must have separate data stores as well, right? So the second point would be actually that would be the third point, but I'm just writing here. So separate hosts and separate data stores. Okay, data stores, right? So separate hosts and separate data stores, that is also very important. Really? Okay, so yeah, separate hosts and separate data stores for active passive machines, APVMs, right? So active passive machines. Now that's another point here. Now Mehmet's asking if the NIC will go down, will it be SPOF? So that's why we will have NIC team there. So that's why we added 10 or 9 NICs total. So yes, when we create for fault tolerance configuration, when we are configuring fault tolerance, we must create a NIC team there. So there should not be, and that's a good point, there should not be a SPOF on any level. So 2 network cards and 2 data stores and 2 hosts there, and even outside, when the 2 network cards are connecting to the outside physical switch, if you can have 2 physical switches there, active and standby, that would be good. So wherever you can try to go for you should not have any SPOF there, right? So that is one thing here. Now also there's a very good functionality that has been added here. Well, it's been there for a while, and that is, suppose you have a third host here, or you have more than two hosts. It could be up to 200 hosts, or it could be just a third host. So what happens is, when the client goes down, when the host goes down here, so the active machine was living on top of E601, suppose, and it crashed. So what happens is that it fails over immediately to the passive partner. Passive becomes active now, so it doesn't wait for the actual active machine, which is now passive. It doesn't wait for that passive to come up. Suppose it's not coming up, suppose that host is down. Now you would say that, hey, don't we have HA here? Will it not start that and place this VM on the other one? Yes, it can do that too, because there is HA involved. HA will restart, DRS will do the placement, right? So HA will restart and DRS will do placement. And if you have gone for affinity rules, so maybe you've remembered the affinity rule from last class, and let's see who remembers that. So for this kind of configuration, true false, for this kind of configuration you will use VM to VM affinity rule. For this kind of configuration, true or false, for this kind of configuration you will use VM to VM affinity rule. For this kind of fault tolerance configuration you will use VM to VM. So Babatunde says false, Olikaze say true, Mayar says false, Amane says no, Tosin says true, Tejan says true, Javinder false, Mahmood says true. So Mayar says anti, Babatunde says anti, Eddie says false. So many of you are saying true, many of you are saying false. So why such a big, great divide there? So yes, those who are saying that this configuration will go for VM to VM affinity, so it is false, guys. Why? VM to VM affinity means the two VMs must stay on the same host no matter what. VM to VM anti-affinity means the two VMs must not stay together on the same host. So in this situation, obviously you must have VM to VM anti-affinity, exactly as you said, those who said that. So it is anti-affinity rule. So VM to VM affinity would be two machines must stay on the same host together wherever they are vMotioned or placed onto, right? While the anti-affinity is what we need here. So they must stay separate. They are dependent, Ed is saying exactly. So suppose the hypervisor E601 crashes, so HA kicks in, right? What does HA do? HA tries to restart the machines on the other surviving host, but then anti-affinity rule kicks in as well. Hey, whoa, I have an anti-affinity rule here that cannot you cannot start this machine on the other host where its partner or standby VM is. So because it is configured with anti-affinity, I have to restart you on the third hypervisor. If you have just two hypervisors, that's bad. Well, it's a small company. What can you do? It's the budget, right? You can't just pay from your pocket to purchase another server. So, but if you have more than two servers, that's good. Fault tolerance works better in that situation. So, HA will kick in to just restart the machine. DRS will kick in to place the machine. You know what's a placement? I think we all know what's a placement. Placement means the virtual machine has to be started on the best suitable hypervisor. But that best suitable is for CPU and RAM, right? Anti-affinity rule will kick in as well. That will not let this now passive machine start on the same hypervisor where the new active machine is now there, right? So these three will work together. Anti-affinity rule, DRS, and HA will all work together. DRS will, suppose it was a SQL server, obviously you will configure, suppose it was a web server, you will configure fault tolerance on critical machines, right? So critical machines might need huge RAM and CPU. Sometimes they are just critical, but they don't need a lot of RAM and CPU. It's not compulsory that a critical machine would need always huge RAM and huge processing, right? Sometimes file server is very critical. CEO has saved all the files on the file server, and they are closing a deal, or they have very critical and very sensitive files there. So file server is also very critical. So, but it doesn't take a lot of CPU and RAM, right? So DRS will just check that, oh, it's a heavy application, or it's just a light application here. So it will start on a specific hypervisor that has enough CPU and RAM, right? That's what DRS is. Anti-affinity will make sure that no, you're not starting on the same hypervisor where your partner VM is right now. So all three work together, and that's a splendid, compatibility of features. Okay, Mahmoud says, is that possible if passive will become active due to resources available? So due to resources available, so active so passive will become active only if active cannot be communicated. Suppose the RAM is so slow, but even slow, they can communicate, right? So in that case, passive will remain passive, active will remain active. If it is totally, the communication is totally lost, that's it, then only passive assumes, okay, I have to become active now, right? So less resources does not initiate or trigger the passive to become active. No communication triggers passive to become active, right? No communication at all. And Babaruni says, suppose active is not performing well. Yeah, so less performance will not trigger fault tolerance. No. So, and Babaruni says any order of precedence. So, any order of precedence between HA, DRS, and affinity. No, or whichever situation is in, you're facing whichever situation first, in that order, the reaction will be triggered. So the server crashed, HA is first because server crashed, right? Server does not crash, then DRS is doing its work, right? Anti-affinity is doing its work because server didn't crash, so HA will not. So whatever circumstances are first, its reactionary features will be triggered first. So whichever circumstances is the second one, that feature will then kick in. So there's no precedence. They're just reacting to what happened first, what happened second, what happened third. So, okay, guys.
I have a question that before I forget the name of the service, that if there are less resources, the machine will, I think, change to the from active to passive and passive to active. So what was that? I don't recall that.
So in this particular situation, fault tolerance only. So less resources would trigger vMotion, that is DRS, but fault tolerance only works. That is called Hyper-V replica in Microsoft, and that is called fault tolerance in VMware, and they only trigger when there is no communication. Less performance, but they can communicate with each other. If you've heard the term heartbeat, so anyone can tell me what does heartbeat do? What is the purpose of heartbeats? Yes, I'm alive, keep alive. So heartbeat is so heartbeats anywhere. So it not only master slave, but also these VMs will send heartbeats. How many seconds are there for a heartbeat? After 5 seconds, it sends a heartbeat. After 10 seconds, it sends a heartbeat. After 20 seconds, well, majority are saying after every 5 seconds, heartbeat is sent. Okay, is it coming from the load balance lab of AWS? Because that's where the 5-second thing is. Okay. Okay. Yeah, in another college I teach AWS and Azure together. So that's where the 5-second is. Normally in LAN, it is always per second heartbeat. In LAN, it's always per second heartbeat. Only up there in AWS, it will be 5 seconds. So no, that keep that 5-second heartbeat there on load balancing. It's in the cloud, right? This is per second heartbeat. So remember, in LAN it can afford that. It has a lot of bandwidth, right? So in LAN it's per second HB is there. So if you talk about Exchange server, wherever you have high availability, normally it's per second, yes, so it's always per second. Yeah. Okay. Mahmoud says heartbeat is just the network connection or any of the resource go down. Yeah. So it's I'm alive, but it is a per second, and if they miss, now that's where the 5 comes. If they miss 5 seconds of heartbeat, so heartbeat itself, I'm alive, every second it's saying I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive, right? So, but if it misses 5 seconds, 5 heartbeats there, then passive will assume, okay, 5 heartbeats or 5 seconds I've missed communication. This means I am now taking over as the active machine. So it is all about if the total communication is down for 5 seconds, that's the criteria for passive to become active. Low performance is okay. Heartbeats are coming in low performance, that's okay, doesn't matter. So active will remain active in that case. Okay, so that's what we are trying to understand. And there was one question way above there. When do become passive, active then? Okay, so yeah, that would be the answer then. Yeah. So when it misses 5 heartbeats, or and it will miss that 5 heartbeats if the whole server E6i hypervisor crashes, or just the virtual machine crash, has some issue, and 5 seconds of heartbeats are done. Suppose the whole physical server is okay, but and you can say in certain ways the bandwidth is so low that the data dropped. The 5 consecutive heartbeats actually dropped. The active machine is okay, but the bandwidth is so low, or the network is gone, that the 5 heartbeats could not give a response for 5 seconds. That's it. Also, then it will trigger passive 2. No communication for 5 seconds. That's it. This is what you need to understand. No communication for 5 seconds, right? Okay, so Baba says, so we can say HA is about hosts and FT is about guests. Exactly, Baba Tunde, you just put it with the right words. This is FT is for virtual machines, HA is for hosts. Exactly. Host has to be triggered. HA triggers for the virtual machine, but if the host goes down. FT triggers when virtual machine itself is disconnected. That's it. So it then triggers. So, and any other mode to configure FT apart from active passive? No, that's it. This is how it works. Active, no. Fault tolerance is all about tolerating a fault. So load balance is not an option there. Maybe in 6.7 they may introduce 6.5 with latest updates. Update 3, update 4, they may introduce that. But no, it is fault tolerance just means that when there's a fault, I will tolerate that fault, right? So load balancing has nothing to do with faults, right? So, it is for active passive. Mainly, it is for active passive purpose, unless they have added in some latest updates, the active configuration as well. This is mainly for active passive configuration, so it has to be only 2 VMs. Yes. So normally it is 2 VMs. If they have added in latest updates that the active can have 2 passives, active can have 5 passives, then we have to check that. Otherwise, normally it is 1 active, 1 passive, right? And what I was about to say for the third hypervisor, that the first VM, suppose the active VM is there and passive VM is there, right? And the hypervisor E6i went down. Now active is not available, passive becomes active. So far we know that, okay, this will happen. But what it does extra is, suppose HA did not get triggered. Suppose the active machine still could not start because there was damage done to the virtual machine configuration files as well, and the OS is not starting, right? So HA did restart this machine in the third hypervisor, but OS is not starting inside that virtual machine, or the virtual machine is corrupt. It's not just starting at all, right? Mainly, so if it is not starting, it will not receive the heartbeats, and the passive, which is now active, will say that, hey, where is my partner? Where is my partner? So HA said, hey, I did restart your partner machine, but I don't know why it's not still communicating with you. So the new active says, hey, I still need my partner. I cannot work without a partner. So what it does is it creates its own new partner machine in the third hypervisor. It does not need the older machine, because its older machine was just a copy of it, right? So you can just create another copy to remain highly available, to remain fault tolerant. So it tries to make sure if its partner machine is not up for a certain time, which is 10 to 15 seconds, I'm just gonna check that out, but for a certain time it checks that, and then it says no way I can remain a single machine, otherwise I don't have high availability now. I'm a critical machine. I need to have achieve that high availability as soon as possible. I'm waiting for my client, for my other partner. No, it's not coming. Okay, let me just create a copy of my active virtual machine in another hypervisor, third hypervisor. The whole hypervisor is down. It will just create another hypervisor, a partner machine. It has to keep highly available or fault tolerant. It has to keep that status of fault tolerance, right? So it does that too. That's what I'm saying. If it doesn't find its crashed partner coming up, it's gonna create another one. That's the point here, right? So hopefully you're understanding what's going on here and what are we talking about here, and that's how you're going to say that in the interview as well. So if crash happens, then the passive waits for active to come back. If not, then passive, and in the bracket, new active makes its new standby partner VM, right? So that's another point then we need to understand. Okay, so fault tolerance is really, good. Like, it really makes sure that because that's why it's a, it has a 80% market share, because it has very good standards of high availability, right? Now we understand that, okay, it will do that too. So whatever we're discussing, obviously this will also be coming in the exam. Hopefully it will be fresh on Wednesday. Now if crash happens, then passive waits for active for some time, and then it just says, oh, I need to stay FT, so I'll just go for it. Now Meyer says that's host isolation. No, if the host isolation is a bit different, Mayar. So this is just the host went down, right? It's just crashed. So isolation would be that the host is up and cannot communicate with the master, and it cannot send. So this is the host talking to host. Here it's the virtual machine partner. The guest is worried about its partner, right? And the guest cannot find that partner for a certain time. It needs to maintain its FT status. So it's going to just create another one. So host isolation is that couple of hosts cannot communicate with their master host to send I'm alive, and because of the they have no communication, for some switch went down, suppose. So in that case they are isolated, but that situation is different. This is different. This is about guests right now we're talking about. So Emily is saying FT can be for specific application or for full for communication. So yes, any application. This is not specific for any this is not for specific application. SQL Server or hospital application, maybe third-party application that the developers created for insurance company. Any application inside, any type of application can be installed on a VM that is configured for fault tolerance. So it's not specific to any application. Okay, so we're talking about trying to understand FT. So we understand HA triggers when host has some issue. DRS triggers when there is low performance, degradation of performance. affinity and anti-affinity are to keep the machines together or keep them away. And then now FT, we're talking about fault tolerance, that if the partner machine is down, then if the active machine is down, passive becomes active, and it will, to keep its status, it will wait for its crash machine. If it doesn't come, it will create its own new partner there, right? So these are some of the advanced features that we're talking about, and each feature is very interesting, and they work together amazingly. So that's why VMware is a preferred choice for hypervisor in data centers. And VMware is also have collaborated with the cloud. So VMware over AWS, this is a very famous nowadays new feature that is available for the VMware administrators. Okay, guys, so we have talked about FT there, and I'll just open that slide there that would help us understand a bit more, and then we can just configure the lab. Yay! Okay, so now there are some, it's online is perfect, 10 Gbps, yeah. So I put some recommendations there that it should be 10 GB network here, that should be available. Now fault tolerance, zero downtime, zero data loss, no loss of TCP connections, we talked about that already. And fault tolerance, vSphere fault tolerance supports up to 4 virtual CPUs, 64 GB memory. It is just more hardware capacity has been supported in latest versions. And then this is what I was just talking about, that primary machine. Now guys, I was talking about active and passive, right? So active is called primary, passive is called secondary, but the concept is same, right? The terminology is primary and secondary. So if the primary is down, and it is down for some time, secondary becomes primary, but it creates its own new secondary machine, right? So this slide will be up there as well to add to the all the annoyance and brutality of the quiz. And okay, so let's go ahead and redundant Vm Decays. So it just says that you must have primary on the first data store and secondary on the second data store. We get that. It will have at vSphere fault tolerance supports multiple processors as well. Changes to on the primary machine are not processed on the secondary machine. The memory is updated on the secondary. So any memory contents, suppose a user has opened a file, suppose the user is changing a file, they will just save the file, so those memory contents will be saved on the other partner machine. And also vSphere vMotion. So during a vSphere vMotion migration, a secondary virtual machine is created on the destination host. Then the memory on the source virtual machine is copied to the destination. So the thing is that first of all, vMotion, if you had to vMotion, so the machines will stay separate from each other. That's the first thing. And the memory contents are copied whenever the vMotion happen. Memory contents are what? Users are doing something. They are copying a machine. They have opened a file that is saved on that information of user is working on a file is saved on memory. So that is very small data that is transferred during vMotion to any other machine while user is working on it, and there is no disruption. And checkpoint data in vSphere vMotion migration, checkpoint data is the last bit of memory that keeps changing. So anyway, all the memory transactions or users are working on that is copied to the other machine. And yeah, fault tolerance, primary host, secondary host. So Vmware says there is any CRC between active and passive for data integrity because no data loss guaranteed. So CRC will be checked when so it's not part of really the fault tolerance here. It's just making sure that the data that is copied here or created here is copied across there. It doesn't go for extra checks there, that if it is it moves the data, but its integrity of the data, normally the other factors will be involved. Data has to be, it's just responsible about synchronizing the data, right? But integrity features could be there, but I don't think they are there. So if suppose there is a corrupt data in the first machine, so the fault tolerance will simply copy that. Suppose there's a virus attack on the active machine, so it will just simply is without checking, it's just copying all the data at the end. So there has to be some third-party software that should be doing the checking of the integrity of the data. Then there are shared files there, and it says that on the database data stores where you copy the files, so there are files called share.vmft and .ft generation files. These make sure they have the information about which virtual machine is on which hypervisor and which data store, right? So the unique UUID of the machine is known by certain files, that hey, our active machine is actually on hypervisor 22 and its partner machine is on hypervisor 35, right? So they will just simply check that the machines are there. Now, how does fault tolerance really work? So that's where the lab starts. And in the lab, what happens is that we're going to configure the lab now, increase the memory of ESXi1 and ESXi2 from 4 GB to 8 GB, and vCenter Vmware as 8 GB as well. Well, the fault tolerance really need a bit more memory, but that's where, so some of the features obviously at 16 GB might not really work, but we're going to try to push it. And fault tolerance needs two machines, two hypervisors there, right? So can we pull this off? So if we just put, so what is our current memory here for server 2? So if we right click here, go to server 2 here. So, oh, in my case it is 6 GB. Whoa, seriously? If we go to ESXi1, 4 GB, ESXi2, 4 GB. Okay. And this is 2 GB already. So 1. So 6 GB and 4 GB. 6, 4, 4, 2. So we are total 16. We are already like kind of overcommitting the RAM. And the lab says, so guys, the thing is that I still need to show you how it works. If I need to increase the RAM to 88 GB or 66 GB, so even if you guys can also go for ESXi shutdown, ESXi1 shutdown, ESXi2 shutdown, and instead of 4 you can give it 66 GB and try to power them on. So you're already overcommitting now the RAM. So 16 plus 6 would be 22 plus 2, 24. Yeah, so those who have 32 GB, I have 32 GB, I can show you how it all works. If you're not able to do that, that is purely because of RAM. But I need to really push towards doing the lab to understand that for your job environment, right? So we cannot just say that, oh, because we cannot do that, so let's not do that lab, right? You have to still see it. You still have to understand whether we have resources or not. We have to push it, right? So what we can do, and yes, if you're unable to do that, it is strictly because of the RAM, less RAM. Yes, that's what I'm saying, that don't be disappointed if for some reason you get all kinds of errors, right? You need to see it happening. You need to understand. If you understand, that's the biggest thing you need to get from it. But if you're not able to do that, don't be disappointed, because it needs a bit more RAM, right? So we can do on HumberCloud, HumberCloud. That's where we came from, and because it's unreliable, right? So, and just to make it reliable and to get the settings, that's gonna take actually 2 classes. Those who what I would suggest is, if I just change my RAMs and show you the procedure, you can try it yourself on HumberCloud, because you have to do a lot of stuff there to get to this stage. Maybe you already have machines, that's okay. But if you want to do that, what I'm saying is, let's not stop the class for a long time and then not be able to complete the lab today. That's where I'm coming at the end of it, right? We need to at least record all the steps in the video. You have full week you have actually forever to just redo that lab on any better hardware. But if you're stuck at cloud, oh, I'm not able to do this, now it's even more difficult to actually troubleshoot for you. And I'm sure you guys are very sharp. So now what we can do, we might get it done with 16 GB memory sync. Yeah, so definitely that's what I'm trying to go for. So what we can do is we can overcommit. So 6 GB is vCenter. We can shut down E6i1 in our laptops and make it 6 GB and power it on. We can shut down E6i2 and then make it 6 GB. So let's do that and then take a break. Those who want to set it up in the cloud with the you know that you then have to troubleshoot yourself a lot of stuff that's not working. But the main thing is, guys, see it how it happens, understand all the extra features, terminologies. That is more beneficial than lost in troubleshooting and then not be able to do the lab at all, right? So we need to still record it. Now I'm just gonna go for this E6i1, let's shut down. E6i2, let's shut down, give it 66 GB, right? Yeah. So that's my suggestion. See it, understand it, right? If you're unable to do it, you can do it throughout the week on the cloud as well, right? So I'm just gonna power off still E6i1 and right click and power off shutdown guest on E6i2, right? So try to see it, understand. There's another one that is vSAN, right? That requires 3 hypervisors. vSAN requires 3 hypervisors. That we might able to do with a very low RAM. We can still be able to do that. We'll try to push. But okay, so I'm just gonna shut it down E6i1 and E6i2, and I'll increase the RAM to at least 6 GB. So on E6i1, I'm going for 6208. On E6i1, I'm going for 6208. Press OK. On E6i2, oh, that's E6i2. So E6i1, 6208. If it's 6.1, 6.0, it doesn't matter. 6208 on E6i2 as well, or 1. So I'm just gonna power on E6i1 because all of a sudden it will say, oh, you don't have enough memory. Oh, you don't have enough memory. Oh, you don't. So it's going to keep on saying that. And not enough resources. FT is very sensitive about resources, so it might spill out a lot of errors. So it's just that it's limitation of hardware, but you can try to do that on cloud as well, guys. Those who want to try with laptop, so what I'm doing is shut down. So go ahead and shut down E6i1, increase its RAM to 6 GB, 6208, shut down E6i2, increase its RAM to and this you can go down here to Windows 10. See this beside the clock? See this, what I'm doing beside the clock? Here are some icons that are open, which are reflecting to some applications that are on in your laptop, right? So I can just check that. Oh, I don't need to update to Adobe Acrobat. I close Adobe Acrobat. End task or close. Free up as much memory as you can, right? iCloud, I don't need that. So go to iCloud and oh, it doesn't let me quit. Bluetooth. So okay, exit. I'm just exiting with all the applications, so it should free up my memory, right? And I have increased the memory from 4 to 6 for both hypervisors. That's okay. So Shiva is saying no problem. Very good, guys. I try to do that with 6 GB and free up as much memory as you can, right? And this is something, even without resources, we're going to push it, right? We're gonna give it our 200%. We're gonna make it happen no matter what, right? If it still doesn't happen, try to understand and give it your best shot to do it. Otherwise, don't be disappointed. It's just the hardware. It's not under our control, right? So but if you can do that with this hardware, and the FT is successful, FT is very sensitive, I'm telling you now. But if it is doable, wow, salute to you guys. So now, yeah, Japinder is saying we are using 6 GB or 6.1. Yeah, anyone, Japinder, I went for 6.1 or 2. It can be 5.9, 6.0, 6.1, 2. It's okay. Doesn't matter. And cool. And yeah, so and Mustafa, 32 GB, should we go for 16 GB? Wow, see, rich guys are talking now. Mustafa has 32 GB, right? So please send some cash so we could. Oh, just kidding. So yeah, in that case, Mustafa, go for 88 GB. For no, you don't have to go to 16 GB for each hypervisor. Go for 88 GB. Your vCenter should be having the most RAM. vCenter, poor guy, needs a lot of RAM. But just go for 88 GB for hypervisors. Now in many cases, overcommitting the RAM just works fine, unless we create a lot of machines and they're all powered on and they use the RAM. So the first step that is in this, it's the first time in several colleges I'm doing this VMware lab with 16 GB RAM. So that's very good. You guys are sharp. You guys are determined. So that's a very, very good thing. You must make it happen no matter what, right? So that's very good. And second thing is, so lab steps. So first thing is shut down ESXi01 and 02, and then upgrade its RAM to 6.x GB. This is already overcommitting, right? So they don't go far off to 6.5, 6.6, 6.1 or 2 is okay. Javinder is saying, I am doing on Humber Cloud, then what is the RAM for host? So, wow, okay, then in that case, Javinder, go for 88 GB. Yeah, straight. Go for 88 GB. Only Munir can say that. Yeah, so remind Munir to say break time, right? So Munir, we are paying Munir to do for that, right? So, okay. So Munir says not yet. Really? Not yet? Okay. So, hey, what are we paying you for? Come on, man. 4 minutes. Okay, cool. So Munir says 8 o'clock. So he's the senior manager on calling for breaks, right? So we will promote you to CEO of calling for break. Okay. So let's go for shutdown ESXi1, ESXi2. Second thing is, guys, shut down. Understand that clearly. Shut down what? Shut down all virtual machines inside vCenter, because we're going to convert one virtual machine to FT. We're going to configure FT on one virtual machine. Try to choose the machine without an operating system. FT works with or without an operating system fine. So we're going to go for keep it as light as possible, the whole configuration. So FT, we could understand FT, right? So otherwise, have V machine. The way we're going to do FT is the same way you can do it for with a very good RAM, with an operating system, with everything configured. It's the same way. Okay. Good. So here, shut down all virtual machines inside vCenter, and then make sure that all machines are shut down. So in my case, if I go back to ESXi1 is started with 6 GB now, ESXi2 is started with 6 GB now. If we go back to server 2 here, the poor guy with 6 GB RAM, right? That's like you're brutally treating this guy at 6 GB. But I can see that so many machines are up. I cannot afford to have these machines up right now. So I'm just gonna go inside the vCenter, go to either you go to VMs and templates, or you go to hosts and clusters. It's the same thing. From wherever you can right click, go to power, and power off all the machines. Oh, it just kicked me out of the hypervisor, which is okay, normal. So I'm just gonna refresh the whole browser here, and everyone's waiting for Munir to say break time, but he's not doing that. So pretty soon everyone will pick up some stuff and to throw at him. Hey, where's the break? Okay. All right. Woohoo! Break time! Yay! Okay. So guys, two things that you need to do is one is upgrade the RAM ESXi02 1 and 2 to 6 GB. If you have more RAM, go for 8 GB. Not more than that. Or you want to go for more than that, it's okay, but 8 GB at least if you have a lot of RAM. Otherwise, 6 GB. And shut down all virtual machines inside vCenter. break time, and let's come back at 8:15. So break time class. So during the break, if you want to go for this conversion, the 2 points above, go for those 2 points and keep your lab ready at that stage. I'm going to go step by step with how to configure FT. So break time class starts at 8:15. All right, so I'll mute my mic and pause the video. Resuming now after the break, and hopefully everyone has or your machines are on that state here. So shut down ESXi and O2 and then upgrade the RAM to 6 GB on both hypervisors, or 8 GB if you have more RAM. Shut down all virtual machines inside vCenter, and that's what I need to do actually. I'm going to go for shut down all virtual machines inside the vCenter here, and I'll go inside the server 2. Oh, so there was a user who was waiting to be admitted. So suppose guys, if you are connected, if you are reconnecting to WebEx, so do put on WhatsApp as well, WhatsApp group as well, that hey, can you click the admit button, because there's a new requirement here. So sometimes I'm busy and I don't see that admit, somebody's trying to come back in. So just let me know in case you're still waiting in the lobby, online lobby that is. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make this full screen, and ESXi1, ESXi2 here, and I'll just make it small screen again. Server 1 is up and running, server 2 is there. Okay, I'll just refresh the vCenter here, which is this. I'll refresh this, and I'll refresh the cluster as well. So I'll go for cluster, tow cluster here. Now you might see an error there for FT that hey, turn off HA and then enable FT. So we're gonna try to see that error. So go to tow cluster here, guys. If you have turned off all the machines there, machines are all powered up.
So what are these red warnings on your machine? That same warning I have.
Yeah, so that's where I was trying to go there. I'll be explaining that now. So guys, just click the tow cluster and go to summary page, because that's where we need to read all the summary. And so go for summary page here. So tow cluster and summary. So that's where it's actually showing that VM03 vSphere HA virtual machine failover failed. So HA is not available, or it has failed to restart. So what it's saying is that it could not restart the machine on the other hypervisor, because other hypervisor was also restarting. So when we shut down ESXi1 and ESXi2 to increase the RAM, so obviously HA needed one more hypervisor to take restart the machines on. It could not find both, so it's saying that it failed. Obviously it will fail because we shut down both hypervisors together, and those are the only two we had. So HA can't do anything, so HA was saying no, I cannot do that. So yeah, we can ignore this. So if you see that tow cluster and you're on summary here, and we know the reason why it failed, because both hypervisors are down, so we can just go for reset to green for these red errors showing on the virtual machine. So the reason, if this is the reason for the virtual machine, then click the reset to green here. I'm clicking that, and reset to green again, clicking that too. Oh, building power supply just went off. Yikes. Yeah, I think there's a lot of rain going on, I guess, or rain starting, and it's gonna be really windy now. Hopefully everyone's safe. Okay guys, so and then there's HA virtual machine failed. I'm just gonna click reset to green, that one as well, and vSphere HA failover in progress. Reset to green, that one as well. So whatever HA failover is going on, we know that why it happened, so we can reset that. So Mahmoud, you can see here now, if you're in Tor cluster, go to Tor cluster, Mahmoud, and then click summary. That's where it is. Cool. Okay, so reset to green, and guys, this is just to make sure that all machines are in tip-top condition. Now, we also have one more configuration that we need to change here, and that is this configuration that the virtual machines are living inside the resource pool, and they're living inside the VApp. So we can take out all these virtual machines to the cluster level and not in the resource pool, because resource pool we were just testing some RAM and CPU related configurations. So we can just take out these from resource pool here, and I'm just gonna drag this your first name Vm03 that is under the RP sales department. So 2 machines inside resource pool, 2 machines inside VApp, take them out onto the Tor cluster level where they were before we created the resource pool and VApp, right? So there's a WhatsApp picture Sean is showing there that it's E6i. So Sean, you should be clicking Tor cluster and then go for summary. Or if the hosts are not responding, then maybe you're running out of resources on your laptop because of increasing the RAM, and try to make sure that both hypervisors are fully started, and just sign out of the hypervisor, vCenter here, sign out of the vCenter here and sign in again, and refresh the browser as well, Sean. Cool. Okay guys, so here I'm just gonna drag this your first name VM03 here. I'm going to drag it out and put it on Tor cluster level, right? You can just right click and move to as well. I'm just going to drop it on top of the Tor cluster, the first one. Then I'm going to drag out the VM04 and put it on top of Tor cluster as well. If you're unable to do that, then right click. Now I'm just gonna, the other way we do it is the proper way. I'm going to take out the VApp virtual machines from inside the VApp to the Tor cluster root level as well. I'm going to right click now. This is the proper way to do it. Right click and go to move to for the virtual machines inside VApp, and click move to, and Tor DC and hosts and clusters, and then Tor cluster. I'm going to select Tor cluster here. That's the destination where I want these machines to be, not inside the VApp. So just moving out, right? That's it. And I'm going to right click on the last machine in VApp and move to, I should have just selected both of them and moved it out of them together. Tor DC extend, host and clusters extend, and just go to Tor cluster, select the Tor cluster. And the last machine is also out of the VApp here. Okay, all VMs moved. Very good. So now, if all VMs have moved out from resource pool and VApp, then we're good. But make sure all are powered off as well. And now we can follow up with some of the lab requirements there. So I'm just going to go back to this. So first of all, lab step number 1 is increase the memory. Okay, that part we try to do whatever we can. Then second thing is have 2 data stores available. Yes, we have actually 3 data stores available here. One for the primary and second for the secondary machine. So yes, we have 2 data stores. Turn on EVC mode in cluster settings. Well, did we? So you need to have HA and EVC enabled, otherwise FT will not work. So yeah, EVC is enabled or not. Let's go for that, guys, now. So last week we were talking about EVC, enhanced vMotion compatibility. Anyone knows what EVC does? Anyone knows what EVC does? In a very brief way, anyone knows what EVC does? Enhance vMotion compatibility. So checks compatibility, CPU. Yeah, compatibility, exactly. Takes care of incompatibility issues. Yeah, that's what. So prevent incompatibility of CPU generation. Okay. So for what? I mean, it's EVC is for a certain service. Which service uses the EVC typically? vMotion, exactly. You guys are good. Okay, so we need to go to EVC and turn it on for FT. FT will not work without a EVC. So I'm gonna click the Tor cluster first, where I'm already clicked. Second thing is I'm gonna go to Z's option, configure. So Tor cluster, and then click configure. Right? So once you click configure here, so where is EVC? So if we go way down here, and you see this VMware EVC, right? VMware EVC. So let's click that VMware EVC where Tor cluster, configure, and then just go way down and VMware EVC. I think we enabled it. Oh, we did not. Okay. So it is disabled for me, and click edit. Let's click edit here. I hope everyone is able to do that. So then it will go directly to the hardware if you're not able to do that. So go to enable EVC for Intel, because I think we all have Intel, and it is on my MeROM generation, Intel MeROM generation. That is the Intel processor my laptop has. So there is MeROM generation, PenRIM generation, NeHLM generation, Westmere generation. If you're unable to find Intel processor generation for your laptop, it's gonna give you error, right? So if it gives you this validation succeed did, then it's okay. If it doesn't give you this, I told you last time as well that this is meant for heavy duty workstation laptops or for servers, right? So if you have so suppose if it is validation succeeded, then you're good. Otherwise, don't select EVC, and still keep on going wherever there's a dead end for you. I mean, if it's a hardware, it's not under your control, right? So you can just wait for the next lab to start after FT, but try to understand everything that is going on. Main thing is, if you understand, you can still answer questions in the interview. If you don't understand, then all this exercise is of no use. So, but it's showing me validation succeeded. You can just keep on checking. Last time you did that, so maybe you're already on that Intel generation that says green validation succeeded, or none of those are supported by your laptop, or so compatible with your laptop. So in that case, that's it. So Baba 20 says, surprise, last week none of the options worked. Now Intel MeROM is working for me. What? Okay, that is the strangest thing. So wow, so why last week it didn't work, but now maybe, it made friends now. So same here too, something must have changed. Same here, validation succeeded for me. Oh, thank God, it's working for everyone. What change we did today, guys? Not much from last week. What else we did? We created a template machine, which has nothing to do with making the processor compatible. So yeah, we increased RAM. Mahmoud says we prayed. Exactly, we prayed. I was praying with eyes, tears in my eyes. So please make it compatible. Okay, anyway. So, and Maurice says, what happened to the voice? Can you guys hear? Oh. So all can hear me, Munir. Check your audio. Okay, the screen gets frozen. Ouch. Okay, that's because of the RAM. So, okay, guys. So this means that we prayed a lot to God, please, and for Tajinder it didn't work. Ouch. So EVC, guys, those who have a dead end here, if EVC doesn't work, still keep going without selecting EVC wherever you see the final error there. Hey, turn on EVC, then you can kind of sit back and enjoy the show. and try to understand all the features still. It will still be beneficial for you if you understand everything. Okay guys, so if it is validation succeeded, let's press okay. So the only thing we did was RAM upgrade, which kind of doesn't make sense, but if it's working, that's just good enough for us, right? Okay guys, so here VMware EVC is selected. That's one of the prereqs there. So and yeah, and I had multiple compatible last week, but none works now. Adiwale says multiple processors were compatible for you last week, and now, wow, okay, it's the opposite of that too. Ouch. So, oh yeah, and there's that Japinder says snapshot. That's a very good screenshot, you mean? So that's a very good time to ask that. Yeah, Babatunde says he didn't pray. Adiwale, you did not pray, that's why. All others, we had special prayers arranged last night, and you were absent at that, right? That prayer session, that please make it compatible with EVC. So Adiwale, you should have come there. Online prayers were going on, right? Okay guys, so let's so guys, go to edit again, go back to edit again, and the screenshot required EVC compatible. Screenshot number 3, name it EVC compatible, where the green current configuration is showing there. Prayer works, exactly, man. Adiwale, see, prayer works. So, and okay guys, so take a screenshot, EVC compatible. Take a screenshot, EVC compatible. So I'll just put it in the OneNote. Screenshot number 3 is EVC compatible. EVC compatible. Right? So anyway, so you can troubleshoot now. Refresh, sign out, sign in, or we're just waiting pretty much for a miracle, because this is maybe because of the software trying to connect with the hardware processor. Last time it was able to, and right now for some reason it's not able to. It sees it as incompatible. So better restart your vCenter. That will take, and then give it 10 minutes on the login screen. After 10 minutes, log in and try to go for EVC again. That would be one of the things that you can do. Convertible? No, not compatible. So I wish I had convertible. I'm just poor guys, so I cannot afford to have convertible. So guys, here, not enough physical memories. Oh, serious. Okay. So yeah, that is a student from another college. He's okay. Anyway, so Adiwale is just restart, and maybe the software vCenter tries to reach your hardware and is able to reach the hardware after restart. Otherwise, it's kind of hit and miss. Just try to have that error. Take a screenshot of the error where it says incompatible, and put in under the error that I tried and it's not succeeding, right? So guys, let's go ahead. There's that EVC compatible, and but Adiwale, just try to understand what's going on, because we are already facing limitation of hardware. So let's press OK here if you've taken a screenshot, guys. And then another step would be, but Adiwale, if you're restarting, yeah, it's okay. Otherwise, keep going without that. Wherever you see the final error that EVC has to be turned on, better restart and check. So then the fourth one is vMotion must be working fine. So we are kind of assuming that vMotion is working fine, because last week also it was working, and last week also it was working. So hopefully it is working. Then there is that let's have a new network adapter and new VM kernel port with FT logging enabled on both hosts, and assign them both 2 unique static IP addresses. So what we need to do is, just like for vMotion, we had to go to VM kernel port within the virtual switch. We need to create a VM kernel port for fault tolerance as well. So for all the advanced features, VM kernel port creates the network side of the advanced feature configuration for those fault tolerance and vMotion and vSAN, all those features, right? So we're going to create a VM kernel port for the fault tolerance on both hosts, or whichever host needs to be configured with the fault tolerance. You have to create a VM kernel port, and the name on the virtual switch for fault tolerant logging is FT logging. It's just not just fault tolerance, it is fault tolerance logging. That's the name for that in a virtual switch. So let's create VM kernel ports here, and how does it really look like in the diagram? So you will be creating VM kernel ports to the virtual switches. Suppose you have those virtual switches, one virtual switch here and one virtual switch here, actually on the same host here. So within that, and those virtual switches are already connected to network cards. In fact, we're going to be creating specific separate virtual switch with two new network cards connected to it for best practices, right? We can configure fault tolerance on the same virtual standard switch that has vMotion also configured. The only thing is the vMotion has its own bandwidth to use, and actually we cannot. I'm going to tell you the reason why. But we can configure one advanced feature with another advanced feature on the same switch as well, on the same network cards as well, right? But because of best practices, we're going to create yet a third virtual standard switch. We're going to create a third virtual standard switch, and then we can dedicate it just for for fault tolerance. So vMotion one standard switch. We're going to create one more standard switch now, and we're going to just dedicate it for fault tolerance, FT, right? And that standard switch will have its own two separate network cards for best practices, for high availability, for removing SPOF on the network level as well. We're going to use separate switch and two network cards for that separate standard switch, right? Okay, so let's do that now for fault tolerance. Let's go to E6i01 and go for the whole wizard of adding a new VM kernel port, VM kernel adapter that will introduce this advanced feature to this hypervisor and to the other one with a separate IP address scheme as well. Okay, not IP address scheme, like separate IP addresses, static IP addresses. So I'm just going to go back to the hypervisor here. So we're about to add the add the fault tolerance, or we need to configure that fault tolerance in E6i01. So let's select E6i01 on the left side here. Let's select E6i01 on the left side, and then we go for configure. I'm already on configure button here. Then I'll just simply go down to so that you can see here VM kernel adapters, right? So E6i01 configure, and then VM kernel adapters. So once you click the VM kernel adapters here, you can already see that vMotion is separately configured as an advanced feature, and managed network is another advanced feature, and they are both configured on separate virtual switches, and both these switches have two separate network cards because we added enough network cards there. So that's the best practice. If you can do that in production environment, that's very good. So I'm going to go up there to add the third advanced feature here with the help of another VM kernel adapter and another set of static IP addresses. Remember one more thing here, that 10 and 11 we have given to vMotion VM kernel adapter. So 10 for E6i01, 11 for E6i02. So 12 and 13 we're going to give to the VM kernel adapter for fault tolerance. 12 and 13 static IP address we will give to fault tolerance related configurations. So let's click that add host networking here, and now you can see VM kernel network adapter. VM kernel network adapter. And let's stick it to this VM kernel network adapter, keep it selected, and click next. And then we can choose an existing switch, but for the sake of the standard, best practices, we're going to go for a new standard switch. So let's click new standard switch here. At the summary of it, we need a screenshot. for E6i1, and add the summary of it in the screenshot for E6i2 as well. So new standard switch, and then click next. So once we click next here, so I guess we have enough network cards. Yeah, so Adivale, if you're there, so click the E6i01 and then go to configure and then go to VM kernel adapters. I hope you're there. So E6i1, configure VM kernel adapters, and then you have to select this globe sign with a plus, a globe icon with a plus sign, green plus sign. Click that. So hopefully you're able to see that. Oh, but were you able to go for EVC? Like, is it working for you? Oh, okay, EVC is not working. Okay.
The EVC doesn't work. So does it mean I cannot go ahead with the rest of it?
Well, fault tolerance has a prerequisite of EVC, but what I'm saying is, until you see that error that's saying no, please configure your EVC, until then you can keep on going with us. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Otherwise, yeah.
Okay. I'll keep my fingers crossed.
Okay, guys. So here, and it's a plus sign. So we're at the start of it. We created a new switch there. Right, well, if you're still following here, so we were on the first screen. First screen looks like this: VM kernel network adapter, and the second thing is new standard switch. We selected the other switch, and then third thing is we're here. So let's add two network adapters, whichever two available. Next network adapter. So click the plus sign, and I got VM 3 and 4. If you got 5 and 6, it's okay. If you got 3 and 7, it's okay. So 3 and 4, I'm just going to select two network adapters. Just we don't need two for our environment. We're just going for best practices. So VMNIC are physical network cards here. VMNICs are physical network cards here. So VMNIC 3, VMNIC 4, and then click next. And once you selected two network cards, you can just go for FT and dash your first name. So FT and dash your first name. And here, this time we're selecting fault tolerance logging, the second one. So with vMotion only, that is a feature that has its own dedicated TCP/IP stack. What does that mean? So if we had gone for switch 2, which is dedicated for vMotion, this is switch 3, right? Or actually this is switch 2 and switch 1 is vMotion, switch 0 is our management network, right? So if we had gone for switch 1 to configure FT, we couldn't have, because we selected this option, TCP/IP stack. So this means switch 2 is that TCP/IP stack on switch 2 is totally dedicated only for vMotion. There you cannot select any other feature, but here in switch this switch we can still select other features if we wanted. Better not select any other advanced features because of bandwidth. So FT dash your first name and then fault tolerance logging. If you selected these two, let's click next. And then we go for use static IPv4 settings. Use static IPv4 settings. Okay, so it is 192.168.200.12 for E6i1 and 13 for E6i2. So tab here, and then so 255.255.255.0, and that's it. Or default gateway is okay. So 12 for this and 13 for the other one. So if you've put that IP, static IP here, click next. So this is the screenshot we need. So your name is showing here, FT dash your first name. So take a screenshot that E6i01 FT configuration. E6i01 FT configuration. So take a screenshot of the summary page here where your name is also showing here. So E6i01 FT configuration. So I'm just going to put that. E6i01 FT configuration. And if that is done, let's click finish and we go to E6i2 and do the same thing with IP 13. So let's click finish on that, E6i FT configuration. So the fault tolerance related configurations in the virtual standard switch are configured in E6i1. Let's go to the same view in E6i02 as well. If you click E6i02, it's going to take you to the same exact page for E6i2 as well, where it is configure and VM kernel adapters. So if you're on this page on E6i2 as well, then we're going to exactly do the same thing. We're going to go to add host networking here as well. And we select VM kernel network adapter. We select VM kernel network adapter, right? And then we click next. So we select VM kernel network adapter and we click next. We go for new standard switch. We go for new standard switch. And then we click next. Well, pretty much the same thing. Go for plus and add 2 network adapters. Go for plus sign and 3 and 4 VM NIC, physical NIC 3, physical NIC 4 are available. Press OK. 3 and 4 are available. Next. And then we go for FT dash your first name and select FT fault tolerance logging here. So go ahead and select FT dash your first name and then fault tolerance logging here. So FT dash your first name, fault tolerance logging. Once you've selected that, let's click next and we know the IP address here, and that is a static IP. It's a critical resource, that's why we should give static IP. Otherwise, some administrators prefer to give IP from DHCP as well as, but they then reserve that IP in DHCP, so nobody else can take that IP. So, but better go for static IP. So 200.13 and 255.255.255.0. Use static IPv4, and that is 213 and 255.0. So the next screenshot would be this page, and the screenshot name would be the same, and that is E6i02 FT configuration. So take a screenshot of this page, E6i02 FT configuration. Take a screenshot here, E6i2 FT configuration. Okay, so screenshot number 5 is E6i2 FT configuration here. E6i2 FT configuration. Hopefully, majority of us have taken it. Then click finito. So IP is 200.13. This one. IP is 200.13. Let's click finish. 2.13, that's it. So once we click finish here, so you can see that in the VM kernel adapter settings, you can see now VMK2 ft- your first name vSwitch2. It's a separate switch. This is a standard well, it's the best practice configuration here, and you could just put it on. Suppose you don't have enough network cards, and that's very strange. Why would you not have enough network cards here? But it's not strange. I mean, you may have other advanced features for which network cards are dedicatedly being used. So in that case, you can also configure the FT with management network as well. On the same switch with 2 network cards, you can configure this one as well. Okay, so once that is done, we can just go for some more prereqs there. So turn on EVC, that's there. vMotion must be working. We're assuming it is working in IT. Normally we don't assume. We just make it work. We test it. But we tested it last week as well. Okay, so and then we go for less. We went for VM kernel port for fault tolerance as well. We create that so it could work across the network. The fault tolerance. Now let's enable FT logging on both hosts. So when we have to select one VM that we pretend is the most critical VM. We're going to select one VM. We're going to keep that VM shut down. So choose any VM shutdown that is on shared storage. Check with data store first VM is. So which VM data stores? There's a troubleshoot here as well. If there are errors, then make sure that VM has 1 GB memory. We'll make sure that our VM has 1 GB memory. It's gonna give normally the error of you don't have enough resources. Sometimes it's gonna say that clearly that it's the memory, and sometimes it's not gonna clearly say it memory. But most of the time, when you increase or decrease the memory, actually decrease the memory of a virtual machine, it just says that. So we've been creating our virtual machines with 1024 GB memory. So we're gonna select whichever has no operating system and is having 1 GB memory. That's good enough. Second thing is, please check which data store it is on. So we're going to check now. First, we're going to see which virtual machine are we choosing. And then second thing is, which data store that machine is. Because its partner standby passive machine will be created on the data store that is a separate one or other one than the one where the active machine is. Right? So we need to know which data store this active machine is on, so we could put its passive machine on the other data store, whichever other is. Turn off FT and then change the memory if you have to do it, and then turn it on. So suppose you started configuring the fault tolerance on a virtual machine, and then it says that out of resources. So when you want to change the memory, if you have configured it with FT already, then you cannot change the memory. You have to turn off FT, then change the memory, and then turn on FT again. So if it is already configured with fault tolerance, normally it doesn't let you change the hardware. That's one other point that you need to know. So we're going to change the memory. We're going to check that it is 1 GB, so we don't have to go for third step then. So the fourth step is you need to have HA and EVC enabled, otherwise FT will not work. So that's where the prerequisites of fault tolerance is that high availability and enhanced vMotion compatibility should be enabled already. So we kind of get it. So now what we need to do is just go to the vCenter, select our virtual machine, keep it shut down, and activate fault tolerance there. That will be a wizard, long wizard there, so that we need to start for any particular virtual machine that we're pretending to be critical, right? So we have a WhatsApp shot here from Mariam, and that is showing VM01, and that is vSphere HA virtual machine failover failed. Yeah, Mariam, we all had that. So you can just click on the right side, reset to green. Just go to the right side, on the right side here, and you should be seeing reset to green. So just click that. So when we shut down both hypervisors at that time, this error came. So it's okay. Or you have other machines already working fine, so you can just select any other machine instead of this one. So okay guys, so I'm just going to go back to the vCenter here, server 2, and in server 2 I'm going to go for the most harmless machine there. What do you mean? Other machines are threatening? So no, every machine is harmless here. But if I go to VM03, You know, remember that when we were doing the lab for virtual standard switch, so we added 2 network cards there. I'm looking for a machine that has no operating system and has 1 network card, right? So I think VM03 and 2 didn't have 2 network cards, although it's not a big deal, but the least resources, the simplest machine possible, we're gonna go for that. So I still need to confirm, first of all, when I click the VM03, I'm gonna make sure that I'm on summary page. Make sure that you're on summary page of the virtual machine that you've selected. Second thing, in my case, it is on E6i2. So my active machine will be your primary and secondary is the terminology here, used for fault tolerance. So my primary machine is, in my case, it is on E6i2. Okay, so my secondary should be on, I know that now, E6i1, right? Babatunde, better, you can, so Babatunde's question is, do we have to turn it off? No. So technically, even if the machine is powered on, you can configure it as a fault tolerance. But if your memory resources, if your hardware resources are limited, better turn it off and configure FT and then power it on. So if you have 32 GB RAM, go ahead, keep it on, and yeah, you can follow the steps. So it's all about the hardware resources. Powered on machine might spill out errors more. Powered off machine might give less errors. When we power on, then we're going to handle those errors, right? So it's just step by step. And did we do affinity on VM03? I think we removed all the affinity rules, but that's a very good thing to check. If this machine has some affinity rules, that's going to be a problem for us as well. Let's check the affinity rules and then come back. So Tor cluster, let's go for Tor cluster here. We just need to make sure that the rules were deleted. I think they were deleted. So go to Tor cluster, go to configure and the Tor cluster. So go to Tor cluster and go to configure. Then go way down here to VM host rules. So Tor cluster, configure, and VM host rules. VM/host rules. Okay. So, oh, you didn't delete them? I also didn't delete that. Oh yeah, maybe we were testing that. So yeah, I think none of us have deleted that. So thank you for reminding Babatunde. So that is very good. So let's delete that rule as well. So guys, here VM host rules and go for delete here. In the VM/host rules, go ahead and delete. That's very good that you reminded us. So VM host rules delete. Some of the previous labs normally then create problems for the next labs. So if it is deleted for everyone, then let's go back to take a screenshot here. VM host rules deleted. Take a screenshot here. VM host rules deleted. Because if they are configured, then you have to take care of a lot of other configurations. So just make sure that if I didn't delete, maybe you also did not delete that. So take a screenshot here. VM host rules deleted. No, group is okay. Group does not do anything. If the group is only affected if they are part of some rules, we have deleted all the rules, so we're good. So guys, make sure, take a screenshot here, VM host rules deleted. Take a screenshot here, VM host rules deleted. So screenshot number 6, VM host rules deleted. VM host rules deleted, right? So if you've taken a screenshot here, VM host, yeah, thank you. So VM screenshot 6, VM host rules deleted. Let's go back. Now we go back to VM03 here, and we'll stick to the summary page of VM03. We need to confirm one more thing. If you have all done, let's come back to VM03 here, or whichever VM you selected. And then I need to first, I know that my VM03 is on 2, E6i2. Second thing is, I'm going to expand this VM hardware screen here. I hope everyone's seeing that, VM hardware screen here. And I'm going to select that, expand that. And you can see here, Well, it's 1024 GB. That's oh, not GB, MB. So 1024 MB is good enough for us. That is okay. But you can also see that network adapter is on. Remember we created that separate two switches with these names or port groups. So that port group actually does not exist. So we need to put it back to the default port group, the virtual machine, on the default port group. We also have FT port group there as well. With the third switch, we can also connect it to the FT port group. So, but we have to fix the port group, right? Network adapter. So let's right click on VM03 or whichever VM you selected. If yours is on VM network, you're okay already. Default port group of virtual strand switch 0. So I'm just going to go to edit settings of this virtual machine. And I'm going to check that the new switch that I just created now, what is the name of the port group of this new standard switch? So if I drop down here in the network adapter, there's a default one which is also okay, but I'm going to go for show more networks. I'm going to click show more networks on the network adapter of the VM03 here. Cool. And RAM is 1 GB. So, okay, I don't see any port group there. So that's it. We can just cancel out. So make sure you're connected to VM network. Make sure you're connected to VM network. Make sure that it is VM network for this particular virtual machine, or any working port group is okay within the hypervisor. Any working port group is okay within the hypervisor. So this is, we know that it is working. There's a default port group of the virtual standard switch 0. So if it is selected, press OK. Now, as I'm saying again and again, it is a very sensitive application, fault tolerance. It really strictly adheres to all the prerequisites and all the guys, better just open a notepad somewhere and try to remember your configurations there. So I'll just go for notepad here, and my VM03 is on ESXi02. Okay, because I'm gonna put it partner. And one more thing, what data store? Ouch, what data store? We need to know that too. Yeah, there's a Rupinder saying I'm having VM03 on ESXi1, which is okay. So if you have VM03 on ESXi1, this means that your partner machine should be on 2, ESXi2. If it is on 2, your partner machine should be on 1, right? Okay, so yeah, which is okay. If yours is different than mine, you're the sharp administrator of your network, you would know that which is the opposite hypervisor, right? So VM03 is on ESXi2, but what data store is VM03 on? Did we check that? No. So we're gonna go for your first name VM03, and I want to know what data store it is on. So if you select VM03, you can see this, right? Instead of summary tab, if you have selected VM03 or whichever VM you selected, just click the data store, which data store it is on. I need to put the partner files, the secondary VM files, passive VM files on the other data store. So other hypervisor, other data store as well. So in my case, it is on DS1. Okay, so I'll put it on notepad. Believe me, it's gonna really help you. So better open up a notepad and write all this. So DS1. In my case, VM03 is on O2. It is registered on O2. It is its files are on data store 1. Okay, this much information I really need before I start configuring the fault tolerance, right? Anybody says just found why one of my VMs was powered on. That's why your EVC is now enabled. Whoa.
So I don't know why. What is the correlation? Because the power, one of the VM was on, the EVC was not compatible until I put it off, and everything was all the options were compatible.
Man,
So I
salute
don't.
to you. Salute to you. Very good, man. Very, very good. Okay, that's way to go.
So what's the relationship, sir? What's the relationship between the VM powered on and the compatibility of the processor?
So, the version of hypervisor we have, it may have a feature because it was never related to this. We had a lot of VMs on, and we were able to, no, not like me in production environments. Always VMs were on, and we were able to configure EVC. But here in this particular version, it could be that turn off all the VMs and then EVC will check it out for you. So that's very good. You kept on. You didn't give up. You kept on moving ahead, and there's that reward. And thank you for sharing that information with us as well. So we all turned off the virtual machines. So that's why I guess EVC was compatible. Last time our virtual machines were not turned off. So for many of us it was not earning. Although my machines were on last time as well. So it's very strange. But okay, guys. So that's very good, Adibale. Way to go, man. So this is an example, guys. We never give up, and many of you have showed that many times that you keep on troubleshooting. Very good. So now these are some of the steps we have gone through. Just take information. Where is your virtual machine? Now my virtual machine actually started. I did not start that. So the logical reason, the technical reason for this, that why it started while it was powered off, is that it is haunted, right? So I'm just going to right click here and just power it off again, right? So that's a very deep technical reason that the machine powered off on itself. The machine cannot be performed in the current state powered on. Seriously? Okay, so it is not powered on. Okay, I'll refresh the whole browser because it's playing tricks on me or somehow. Okay, I'll go for summary here. Is it powered on or is it powered off? Oh, it is powered on. Okay, can I power it off? Yes. Okay. So, okay, guys. So it is your first name Vm03. I've clicked summary here, and so if you have this information in the notepad, then you're good to go. What information? Where is your VM0? Which hypervisor it is on? Which data store it is on? If you put that information on notepad, you're good to go now, right? You must put that information on notepad. Okay, so let's go ahead. If you put that information on notepad, then I'm just going to put it on my second screen. And now this machine needs to be enabled with fault tolerance. So if you right click on this machine, then we can go for this. What is this? Fault tolerance. And there is a turn on fault tolerance. So when you click that button, turn on fault tolerance, lots of errors pop up or warnings pop up because of our underlying configurations and whatever hardware configurations, whatever software configurations of our environment. It checks all that and pops up errors. Lucky ones might not get errors, right? So we need to then check the nature of the error and we need to resolve it if we can resolve it. So I'm just gonna right click here. We're already on right click, fault tolerance, and let's click turn on. And I have my eyes closed. Actually not. Whew. Okay, it didn't show me any error. So far so good. So this means that if you're on the data store screen, so initially we're okay. No error. Okay, very good. So she was saying no error. Mahmoud is saying no error. So we're good. Okay, so far so good. We're good. So you can see that there are data stores here. And what is it asking now? Select data stores to place the secondary VM. Yep. Cannot hear. Oh, okay. So secondary VM disks. So there is a screenshot on WhatsApp. And yes, so guys, there is an error. Normally this kind of error does come. Warning, the fault tolerance configuration of the entity 6502 local has an issue. Where fault tolerance requires the host to have a virtual NIC enabled for fault tolerance logging. So, and that's a warning actually, it's not an error. So if Mariam, if you do press yes here, then you can actually be on the screen where we are, but it just says that vSphere fault tolerance requires the host to have a virtual NIC enabled for fault tolerance logging. Isn't it enabled? Did you select VM NIC 3 and 4? What was that? Okay, so but go ahead and press yes, and you might be on the same screen as we are on. Otherwise, she should check the FT logging option. If that FT logging option is not selected, she will get a very big red error here. But I'm sure you might have selected the FT logging option, but Ediwal is saying that, so that's after yes, I am at the same page. Oh, okay. So you're on the same page because it's a warning, first of all. Second thing is, it might not have detected that the second network card is enabled or not, or maybe she added one network card, so it depends. But okay, so far it's kind of okay. So we're gonna go ahead now. In my case, so it's selecting that, it's asking that, hey, secondary or the passive VM, what data store you want to select. So in my case, my active or primary VM is on DS1, so I'm going to select DS2 or 3, any one of those. So check your notepad, and whichever data store your primary or active VM is, just select any other data store, any other LUN based data store for that. So I'm just going to go for DS2, and not only that you have to go to DS2 here. So we're just gonna select DS2, and that is it. Oops. Okay, I lost that chat window. Yeah, got it. So guys, if you're there and we have selected data store other than, suppose I select DS1, what does it say? Just to check what it says, right? Mine was on DS1, right? Hey, that sucks. Okay, it should give an error, but I know that it is on 1. My active is on 1, so I just wanted to check that it should give an error, but it did not actually give an error for that too. So I'm gonna just select any other data store other than the one where your active machine is, and click. Next. So all your data stores are not compatible? Whoa, that's a big one. All your data stores are all your data stores online? Suppose they're not online. Are your virtual machines showing inaccessible? You just go ahead to storage and rescan all data stores and come back here and check it out. So just go for rescan and check it out, right? Guys, it is showing us secondary VM should be on, obviously. What? So guys, do you see 2 hypervisors here or 1 hypervisor on the screen? Select host. So do you see 2 hypervisors or 1 hypervisor? 1. Oh, okay. Everyone's seeing 1 hypervisor, right? Now, if I just grab my OneNote here, notepad here, so I would just say, what the heck is going on? So VM03 in my case is on E6502, and it's saying that. So guys, do you see the same thing? Where your virtual machine is, active virtual machine is that the same host showing for your secondary VM as well? No. Okay, good. The other one is just showing, right? So I'm the only lucky one here. Mine on is one IC2. Ah, guys, this is not fair. If I'm getting an error, teacher's getting an error, so all students must get an error as well, right? That's not fair for the teacher, right? Samosas, okay. Sterilized samosa, okay. So, what? You're kidding me. Okay, this is weird. So, please start and yours would be okay. Really? Restart? Whoa, okay. Yours were 1. No, really? So I hope I am on the summary page. Oh, seriously? Mustafa? You just saved the day. I was gonna just cancel out and see that, but I dragged it down. So yes, it is on 1. I think what happened is when I powered it off, DRS must have done something and it placed it on 1. It was on 2. All this time it was on 2, I was showing you. So yeah, okay, so the hardcore technical reason would be it is haunted, right? So no, it's DRS did that. So it places things. Samosa for all from you. Okay, I'll send sterilized virtual samosa to all of you, and it was on 2 exactly. See, Shiva also knew that. So it was on 2. It was placed later on 1. So guys, this means that I'm going to change my configuration here to 1. I hope it did not change my data store. That would be bad. But anyway, thank you for noticing that, Mustafa. And alright, guys. So let's select 2 here, or whichever got selected for you. No exam. Oh, that's another one. Wow, you guys are tough bargainers, right? So that's no exam because you were wrong. Wow, there's another in George Brown College. We have 30 students, and they're all joking with me, right? And they come up with such crazy reasons. I can't stop laughing. So now you're getting to that stage where you're giving me all kinds of reasons. So that's very good. But let's go ahead and ESXi 2 and compatibility checks and click next. So we get that. Now take a screenshot of this page. FT about to be configured. Ah, come on, guys. Please explain the HA state. Huh? Where's the HA state? Let me go back. Where's the HA state? There's no HA state. Eddie. So, where exactly? Maybe you saw here somewhere. Nope. Nope. Second screen? Okay, let me go back. Here. HA state. Okay, second screen. Okay, is that second screen? Running master. Green mark. Running master. Oh, HA state. Ah, that was woo. Okay. Array. Wow. Amazing. So you saw this, right? So that's very good. This is so small and you noticed it. Very, very good. So, okay guys, here HA state is high availability state, right? So this in my case, so you know what is master slave relationship, right? So one of the hypervisor automatically is elected to be master. All other hypervisors are automatically to be elected as slaves. What does the slave do? They send the keep alive packets, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive, and keeps on doing that forever to the master. So in my case, the HA state would be if this hypervisor is the master who is collecting keep alive packets, or is it the HA state of this hypervisor is it a master or is it a slave? So if this is one is a master collecting all information from the slave, the keep alive information from the slave. So Ed is saying which criteria, this is internal algorithm of hypervisors itself, and they suppose you have 200 hypervisors, it could be any one of those, or with the help of scripts that are available on the VMware knowledge base, KB. If you go for KB or knowledge base articles, so they do give that script that hey, you want to elect a master of your own, otherwise they will just simply elect with their own internal algorithms a master automatically. There is no specific criteria they have mentioned in the documentation, but the few users in other groups, advanced users, Vmware administrators who are discussing, said that the best available host with least amount of errors. But if all the hosts are new still, then it's a kind of local, whoever came first or whoever came last, they elect according to certain criteria. But the thing is that there's a internal algorithm that they should come up with a documentation separately of that. If I tried to search that, I could not find a proper documentation from VMware, so I went for forums and they were administrators were discussing, and through that I get to know. Otherwise, it's not kind of. So MAC address on the basis of what again? So they all have MAC addresses, right? So why a certain MAC address will be selected? So that the question still remains the same, right? So we need to. That's a very good question from you. So that's why because Eddie asked that. So the assignment will be only for Eddie. That please try to dig out the documentation that says what is the criteria of the hosts selected here, right? So you get lucky there. You get an assignment as well. So arm wrestling, they can elect by that too. Oh no, okay. So Cisco switches use port MAC address to elect. Okay, but normally it is yeah. But why do they elect certain MAC address? Again, the question remains the same. But that would be one of the election components, one of the things on the basis of which they are selected. So in any state to avoid loops. Okay, why that specific? Oh yeah, so they can select any one out of four or five MAC addresses, right? Just to avoid loops. So the thing to remember is that to have certain kind of purpose there, but why that particular, whatever they selected, right? So that still remains a question. So that's what normally VMware also says, it's internal algorithm from which they get elected. But I'll have to dig out that documentation. You also do, and we're gonna come up with that answer as well. But very good question for that. Okay, guys. So HA state, one is master. Why that one becomes a master? Definitely, that is the question. So let's click next, and you made me curious as well. Again, although I did search once, but now I'm just gonna take it out again for a specific answer. So on this page, let's take a screenshot. FT about to be enabled. FT about to be enabled. Okay, Mahar did that research by this time we were discussing based on object ID or MOB ID. So mob object ID. So Mahar, if you could just copy paste that URL to the WhatsApp. Thank you for doing that search. But why that particular object ID is selected, that still remains a question. Maybe that article explains that too. So, thank you for doing that research as well. Okay, guys, and oh, I didn't see on WhatsApp there were samosas there. Whoa, you're kidding me, man. So I have to show that because I'm so hungry already, right? So these are called samosas for those who never saw it, and it has potatoes inside and some veggie inside, or if you want to fill it with something else. Ooh, I'm so hungry now. Okay, and that's really nice sauce. Okay, so thank you for sharing that and making us more hungry now. So let's keep going. Okay, so Munir says take one and no more exams. Seriously? Another good one. Okay, so here, guys, if you've taken a screenshot, let's go ahead and oh, we have 9:23, guys. We need to move ahead. We're half an hour left, so I'm just gonna go for screenshot number 7. What's going on here? Yeah. FD about to be. If you took a screenshot, click finish. If you took a screenshot, go ahead and click finish. So screenshot taken or Tekken 3, Tekken 4, Tekken 5. Very good game. So let's click finish. And please use screenshot to mark us. So Munir has all kinds of ideas there. Shiva also has that. So just one exam, Mariam says, Wow, you guys are running away from exams. What is right with you? That is, I have to say, what is wrong with you guys? So I have to mark with something, right? So that's why, and it's fun to be brutal, right? So when you're like feeling miserable, I'm like, okay, guys, let's go ahead. So do you see that the icon changed for the machine that was configured with FT, right? So all others are light blue, but this one is dark blue. So it shows that this is FT. Now the moment of truth is because we need to power on that machine, right? So right click. Wow, everyone's supporting everyone's idea. So right click on power and power on. So where are the drums? I click the power on now. And just close your eyes for any of the errors that are coming your way. Ouch, ouch, and ouch. vCenter server was unable to find a suitable host to power on the following virtual machines for the reasons below. Insufficient resources to satisfy configured failover level for vSphere HA. For vSphere HA, okay. So guys, everyone gets that? Or I'm the lucky one today? Okay, same for Tajinder. Mayar, same. Imani, same. Okay, Alexa, same. Tosin, same. Oh, Kim's is working. Hey, that's not fair. Kim, you have to get back to this error. Try to do something wrong and get that error back. Okay, but then Mariam also has some extra errors. And while Munir is having another campaign started, so that is, so Mariam is seeing there are configuration issues for the fault tolerance operation. So error Vm03, the fault tolerance configuration of the entity Vm03 has an issue. Record replay functionality is not supported by this virtual machine. Ouch. Yes, you're right as well. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Okay, thank you, cell phone. So, and warning is still there, but now this record replay functionality is not supported. Now this is Googleable error. You know what I just said? Googleable. So now I'm trying to recognize this song. Yeah, I must have heard that way back, 40 years ago. Okay, so record replay functionality is not supported by this virtual machine. Really? Okay. So, Miriam, turn off the fault tolerance here and turn it on another machine for now. But this needs to be Googled up, or as I said, Googleable, because I need to check that too. So guys, now what I need to see, majority of us got this error, right? So there's another way to get rid of that as well, and that is okay, another machine. Yeah. So okay guys, so see this Kim got 32 GB RAM. That's why. Serious. So Kim also says default network adapter for Windows 2012 is E1000E, which is not supported for record replay FT. If that's the case, can you please try with some other network adapter and see if it helps? Okay, that's very good. So E1000E is not good for, so Mariam, there you go. Thank you, Kim, for sharing that. Oh, thank you, Kim, for sharing that. That's very good. So guys, if you got this error, insufficient resources to satisfy configured failover level of vSphere HA, let's go to HA and do one thing. I'm going to explain quickly what that means. So if you get this, so press OK here because, well, there is nothing else we can do. So press OK here. And in HA, let's go to Tor cluster. We need to revisit HA configuration, high availability configuration, right? So let's go to Tor cluster and click configure to check out about this error. So Tor cluster and click configure, and then go to vSphere availability, right? And once you're in vSphere availability, let's go to edit. So let's go to edit, vSphere availability, and let's go to edit. So in the edit, now there is admission control here, right? So it controls how many times you admit your mistakes, right? Admission control. right? Oh, just kidding. So no, it's admission control is for reservation of your resources for high availability. So if you go ahead and click admission control. So in admission control, it says here, did I say air? Okay, it says here, host failures cluster tolerates. It says 1. Maximum is 1 less than number of hosts in cluster. So it says 1, right? So we cannot go for 0 here. We can go for, cannot go for more. So it says here that one of your host is right now standby, or it has reserved the resources, CPU and memory, for one host worth of resources, right? So one of your hosts or that much resources for one, it has reserved. So we cannot use enough memory and CPU that is equal to what one host would use for typical virtual machines that we have. So our HA is right now configured to tolerate the loss of one host. So this means the resources we are having because of HA, this configuration, we have very less resources right now. Override calculated failover capacity. Suppose we go to override calculated failover capacity. So it says, I'm not going to let you use more than 50% of CPU and more than 50% of memory. So this also is doing the same thing. It's giving us less resources for our basic work, right? So either we can simply turn off the vSphere. So first of all, either we can go for, suppose I go for 1 here. I just type 1. 1 for CPU, 1% for it. So, hey HA, just 1% of CPU, you can keep it to yourself in case there's a disaster. Then this much of CPU and memory will be reserved for those machines which have survived the disaster. Hopefully you understand what I'm talking about right now. So we can go down to, hey, give us more resources, HA, because we need more resources right now. So please don't reserve 50% for disaster. No disaster has happened. Okay, we can just say that to the host, right? So either we do this or we simply turn off the HA's. So it's better to do this actually, but I'm just going to show you one more option here. If I go to vSphere, so we can turn off proactive HA. We can keep the HA on for fault tolerance. Fault tolerance prerequisite is HA to be on, but proactive HA we can turn it off. Either this, let's just try this one, admission control, where we just put it on 1% CPU and memory. So now we may have more resources available for our own working and not reserved for whenever the disaster happens, right? So performance degradation, VMs tolerate 100%. Yeah, it's okay. So the main thing is the define host failover capacity by cluster resource and override calculated failover capacity. So right now it is failover capacity 1%. So more 99% resources are available now. So that much CPU and RAM is available now for our current operations. So if you have put 1 here, let's press OK. If you have put 1 here, let's press OK. And check again. Before we do the check, let's refresh the whole browser, not browser, let's refresh the whole web client, right? See this? So refresh this. So once we refresh this, now we can go down to Vm03 again, and it's just fingers crossed. It's just that we have less resources available overall. So just go ahead and power on again. Does it work or does it not work? Power on. So guys, below there I can see the machines are being powered on. See this? In the task, recent task, you can see 55%. You can see Vmware tools is not installed. Yeah, we know Vmware tools are not installed. We can just ignore that. Okay, my machine is powered on. Woohoo! Yay! Yay! Okay, so yeah, you were saying? So for array, it worked. Mahyar fail. Tajinder mine. Tajinder same error. Mahmood mine okay. Vinay okay. Imane okay. Shiva okay. So Mahyar, other than that, we're just looking for wherever the resources are being put there. Hopefully you've done the 1% CPU. Mustafa is also saying not okay. So then it is originally, overcommitting. We overcommitted our RAM and CPU. Although any other way, just check that any other virtual machine is on, turn it off, and then try it again. Or we overcommitted our RAM from above 16 GB, so it might bite back. It is biting now. So if it is not working, it's just limitation of our hardware. But whatever extra configuration was causing the resources to be low, we dealt with that. So guys, also you can go and uncheck those. For those it is not working, see this? For those it is not working, uncheck only proactive HA and then try again. Only for those. For those it is working, don't do anything. For those it is working, don't do anything. For those it's not working, please follow me again. Draw cluster, configure, vSphere availability where we were just now. Go to edit again. And show me the error if there's an error. Otherwise, just turn off proactive HA. But so if you're on vSphere availability, only turn off the second one. Keep the first one on. For those, it is not working. Only for those. Keep the proactive HA. And Mustafa is saying that. So he's showing another diagram here. These operations are allowed in the current state. So Mustafa, did you do that what I was saying, or Mustafa, did you do that what I was saying? Oh, okay. So do that and then let me know, right? So anyone else did that what I was saying? Just turn off proactive HA but keep the other HA enabled. We sent disabled FT because secondary VM could not be powered on. Japinder is didn't it work for you? No, Japinder, that's another error. We're gonna deal with that, but there are many others who are not even to go, haven't gone for. So, still the same. So Tajinder, you're saying that proactive HA unchecking and pressing OK is still the same exact error? Okay, Munir also checked that. So this means, guys, those if you uncheck the proactive and still it's giving the error, so it's then directly related to, in most probably what I'm thinking is directly related to your hardware. So that's where you kind of sit back, enjoy the show, and try to understand what's going on, because you should know what are the concepts, what are the prerequisites, and how to turn it on. The rest of the terminology I need to explain in next half an hour. You can keep on trying to troubleshoot, but whatever I understood, I'm giving you. Otherwise, it's kind of we can blame it on the hardware. So Reza is also showing something. Reza, what's the issue? So I'm just gonna put it there in front of you guys, so we could all understand. So VMware tools is not installed. vCenter disabled fault tolerance because the secondary VM could not be powered on. Yeah, Japinder also showed that. So that is okay. I'm just gonna show that when we go ahead. We're gonna talk about it because I'm gonna see that too. The thing is that it still does not have enough resources to power on your secondary VM. So it's again talking about resources, guys. So as I was saying before as well, that fault tolerance is very sensitive application. It's going to not tolerate any kind of okay, Mariam says same for VM04 as well. And VM04 has what network card? So Mariam, did you see that what Kim had to show you? Kim, you can share that with Mariam, right? Mine is on now. So Tosin and Giazu. Oh, Moni is trying to put some. Okay, I know Mariam has 32 GB. Oh, Mariam, you have 32 GB RAM? Ah, come on. Then give it 8 GB RAM to your machines, hosts. So guys, the thing is that we will get a lot of errors, but if we are not able to finish the lab, then nobody gets anything. Even those who got the error, you won't be able to understand the full concept, right? So I have to move ahead now because we have less time available left. So you can try to troubleshoot, but the main thing is first try to understand what's going on. What are the new terminologies there, right? So you have to if you don't understand and do the lab, then the whole time wasted anyway, right? So try to understand even if your lab is not working. And those errors, take a screenshot and you can upload your document with those errors. I'm not going to cut your marks, right? So, but try to troubleshoot. But right now, try to understand. So guys, here, let's try to understand if it powered on, what does that mean? So the first thing is that you have to see it from another angle now, from another view now. What is that? Let's click the E6i01. Go ahead and click the E6i01. It worked, I guess. It is powered on. Does it mean it is working? Yes, Mustafa, if it is powered on, you're good. If it is powered on, you're good. And it's powered on without any errors, you're good. Yeah. So guys, maybe when you pressed OK to your errors and check that if it is still powered on, then go ahead and join us, right? So E6i01, let's click E6i01 here and go to VMs here. See this? E6i01 and go to the VMs view there. Now, the VMs you see, do you see primary there or do you see secondary there? I see a VM with primary written there, right? Maybe you're seeing secondary or primary. Then I go to E6i2 here with the same view, E6i2, click VMs tab, and I see secondary VM here as well. Now for those, it is giving the error of that the secondary VM cannot be started. It still is talking about less resources here, and because of that, it's not. So we can, try to really just try to increase some resources, which if you can, otherwise it's still about the less hardware that we have. But you can see that primary is showing E6i1. If I click, the primary is there, right? And then E6i2, if I click, secondary is there, right? So a quick test of that, does it fail over itself? A quick test of, can it fail over automatically itself? We need to make a quick test there. So Tosin says secondary is disabled. So refresh the vCenter here, Tosin. Try to sign out, sign in from the vCenter, or refresh the whole browser here. But normally it might say disabled, or after some time it updates its status to enabled or secondary. In my case, it's just saying secondary. But if it is disabled, again, it could be that it's not getting enough RAM and CPU, and that's why it's saying that. Or you could just sign out, sign in, and it will update its status on the dashboard. So guys, my E6i01 is showing primary here. I need to crash the E6i01 hypervisor. So I would want to see that once E6i1 hypervisor is crashed where my primary machine is living, the secondary, the partner machine on E6i2 should change its status automatically to primary, right? Which means failover happened, right? So I hope you understand what I'm talking about. E6i1 shows primary. I'm going to crash that E6i01, and when it crashes, I'm expecting E6i2 based secondary machine to become primary by changing its status from secondary to primary. That's going to show us. So okay, that's what it's shown. Oh, you're talking about Shiva, we should disconnect the E6i1. Well, disconnect would be okay, Shiva, but the thing is, crashing it would be better. So I'm going to go for E6i1 here. So E6i1, if you understand what we're doing here, E6i1 shows primary. In fact, yeah, we have last few minutes left. So I'm going to go to E6i1 to replicate. Yes, Shiva, that is also okay. Disconnect it, and that is also okay. But I'm going to go to E6i1, see this, and right click, and I'm going to imitate or pretend it is an actual disaster that strike, and power off. Power off is pulling off the plug, which is unsafe, obviously. So this means that it's like a crash that happened and some hardware failure because of that. So on E6i1, make sure that you're right-clicked on the correct machine, not on the wrong machine. So E6i1 has primary. I'm gonna just simply power off that and crash this machine to make a replica of a disaster, right? So power off, it's powered off now, gone, right? So if I go back to server to hypervisor, I'm gonna keep on refreshing. I'm not gonna change anything else now. I'm going to keep on refreshing. Does the ESXi1, does the cluster detects that the ESXi1 is gone or not? So I'm going to keep on refreshing this browser. Oh, yeah, it does. So I can see a red sign against ESXi01 because I crashed it. But then if I go to ESXi2, yes, it changed its status automatically to primary. So change to primary automatically. Mine is primary now. Woohoo! Yay! So guys, screenshot for failover works. FT failover works. Take a screenshot here. If the secondary became primary, you must have that view of the E6I2 selected, or whatever was later before showing secondary is now showing primary. Take a screenshot of that and say FT failover works. FT failover works. These are in the least amount of resources that we have, and we're trying to pull this off with 16 GB RAM. Normally that's for a course, for a VMware course, this is highly not recommended, but even with these resources, if you're able to pull it off, it's not like if you're not able to pull it off, it's not your fault, it's just that the hardware is less, but you see that and you can try again, right? At least it's recorded now, and you get to see that, oh, that's how it works. Okay, so why new primary has red alert? So you have to check. So my new primary has red alert here, and let's check the red alert. Normally the alert is that it doesn't have a partner, right? So but we can just check that alert as well. What does it say? So if I double click on the new primary, go ahead and double click on the new primary. So it says virtual machine fault tolerance state changed. Okay, that's the red alert, right? Or the red mark is virtual machine fault tolerance changed. Why is it changed? It cannot find its partner right now. So it's not on the state of FT anymore. It's not highly available anymore, right? So that's why I'm saying FT changed, state change. Obviously, the first one is down. The other one, its partner is down, so it will give an alert that, hey, I'm no longer highly available now, so do something about it, right? So that's the reason for the red sign. And what if we connect ESXi1, it will go back as primary? So that's a good question. So guys, did you take a screenshot of this? Did you take a screenshot? After taking a successful screenshot, just power on that ESXi1. So normally it does not fail back, it keeps that way, but we can test it as well. So I'm going to go for screenshot number 8, and that is, guys, at different levels, when you got the errors, please take a screenshot of the error and put it in the document. I will understand, but put the screenshots of the errors on the document, or explain in the document, oh, it didn't work for me from this stage. So screenshot 8, and that is screenshot 8, and it is FT failover works, right? FT failover works. So FT doesn't work, so you should write FT doesn't work and show the error, Mariam. So if the error is there, we have to troubleshoot, right? So if there are new errors coming, not everyone knows all the errors, we can only Google it, right? So try to put FT doesn't work, yeah, or error here, error showing this, and FT doesn't work, yeah, you can just type that. So E6I01 is this. So guys, if you have taken a screenshot number 8, FT failover works or FT doesn't work, then just turn on the E6I1. Well, if it doesn't work, don't turn off or crash the machine, but if it works, then crash the machine and then power on. So I'm just gonna power on that machine now, E6I1. So yes, so fault tolerance, really is a wonderful feature that you can see right away that the status changing shows that it is very active when it comes to detecting disasters. You must have EVC and HA has to be there, and admission control of HA, we understand that it can reserve or not let you use half of the resources of the total cluster resources. Cluster combines the resources of whatever hypervisors are there, right? So two hypervisors are there, and admission control feature will not let you use half of your cluster resources. So that's what we overcome, and then we were able to do that. And so you should understand the critical functionality of admission control, right? If that comes in that really brutal quiz on Wednesday evening about what admission control does, so you should understand what it does. So it reserves the capacity in case disaster strikes. So where will the virtual machines go? It reserves that capacity for those virtual machines, surviving virtual machines, right? Okay, guys, so that is fault tolerance, and if we get to understand from doing it that yes, it actually fails over. Now, the best scenario for you would be before the job interview, you should actually install an operating system inside and create a fault tolerant replica of that on the other side with operating system and VMware tools installed. That would be the actual production environment, and then try to crash a machine and check. Even if you have third hypervisor, you can have you can check that. Okay, does it create automatically another partner in the third hypervisor? So you can do all those kind of scenarios as well. But we get to understand that. Okay, so Mahmoud says my vSphere crashed. Ouch. Okay. Then you can try to start again. I think it's the BSOD you got blue screen of death, right? But yeah, it requires a lot of RAM there, guys, so that's why it's so guys, that's it for fault tolerance. We understand the purpose of it. We discussed it a lot. Very good questions came from you. Very good troubleshooting you have done. But you should work as a team, and you are a very good team. Let's see who passes the exam. The whole team must pass that VCP exam to really reap the rewards of this course. And yeah, and also give the exams as soon as possible for AZ103 and AWS courses as well. Give those certifications ASAP. Explain cross-host vSphere vMotion. Okay, what is cross-host vSphere vMotion? So she was asking what is cross-host vSphere vMotion. So that is, if you, wow, that's a messy one. Okay, let me just grab one more clearer diagram here. And so cross-host vSphere vMotion would be that you have a virtual machine here, and that virtual machine has a virtual disk, obviously. So that virtual disk is on some data store here. So if you intend to do two things at the same time, you're moving the virtual machine from the RAM of ESXi1 to the RAM of ESXi02, and you're moving the virtual disk of the virtual machine from the data store 1 or data store 0 to data store 1, or whichever other data store. If you're moving both of them together, that is called cross-host vSphere vMotion, right? If you're moving the storage of the virtual machine as well as the virtual machine itself across the hypervisor and its storage across the data stores, that is called cross-host vSphere vMotion, right? Yes, that's it. At the same time, exactly. You're right. Memo says I started ESXi1, but nothing changes, same state. Yeah, it will not change. You're welcome. Yeah, Mahmoud, it will not change. It's not supposed to change. It will not fail back. That's what you're trying to say. Does it fail back? No, it does not fail back, because the passive machine, if it's working fine, and active machine crashed, so active machine is kind of non-reliable, not reliable anymore, right? So guys, don't forget to upload the week 13. Wow, seriously, we're on week 13. So then we're gonna go for, like, how many total weeks we have? 2 more left? Seriously? Okay. So, but we have covered all the critical labs, but I'm gonna just bombard you with a lot of exams and projects, so to make your life more miserable than before. But no, I'm here to help you guys, and don't worry. So week 12? Week 12 it is. Week 12 question mark, week 12 it is. Week 12 question mark, it's week, wow, you guys are question answer. That's fun. Okay, so let's go ahead, guys, and try to upload the labs and suspend all the machines, right? Discuss the question. Oh, so Munir, first of all, maybe other professors are doing that, that they are giving you a set of 50 or 100 questions, and out of that, you're getting some questions. So mine one is not that. I don't have a set of specific questions from which the questions will come. So whatever we covered, the questions will come from anywhere there, right? So it's I don't have any 50 or 100 questions there. It's just all the topics that we discussed. There will be questions created out of what we covered, right? So other professors not taking exam? Seriously? Okay. How are they giving you marks? So please upload the video so I can redo the first 2 hours lab. Sure. So it wasn't on the beginning. Oh, okay. Edit. So it will take 1.5 hour edit. So by tonight or by morning you will have that video. Yeah, just class activity. Really? Yes. Screenshots. So how soon would be video be ready? Anyway, the video would be ready within 1-2 hours, I think. And if I'm asleep by that time, so in the morning I'll upload. Otherwise, at night I will upload in 2 hours. Attending class, they are marking on it. Wow, you're attending the class and they're marking? Are you kidding me? Okay, so Munir, please give us 2 chances to pass. Oh, 2 chances to pass. Okay, and there's a behind the scenes. Reza is saying VCP6. Oh, so you shared an article behind the scenes. What happens, and so that's a very good article from Reza. Guys, try to read that and do the exams. But yeah, it's just that you have to earn the marks, not just be rewarded the marks, right? You have to earn it. And the more quiz you face, the more knowledgeable you will get. Otherwise, actually, that's wrong not to give you a quiz. It will be easy for you to pass, but what do you learn, right? What is the quality of the knowledge you have? So it's for you that I'm going to give the quiz, and you will benefit from that, right? If there's a job benefit for you, then it has to be done, right? It's for your own good. If I can give you marks, don't worry. It's just that you don't learn, right? Why are you here for then? If you're asking for no, don't give me, you're basically saying don't give me knowledge. Seriously? How do you get the job if you don't have a knowledge? So anyway, 12, and then so yeah, so I'm just putting on BB now, and please go ahead and upload. So 13 April 2020, and I'm just creating a folder, and guys, you must upload something on those folders. Oh, this is not week 12, this is week 13. Really? Because week 12 was 18 April, right? Oops, 18 whatever was there. Serious? What's wrong here? Why did I give a wrong date here? It was 6 April. Oh. Okay, anyway. Week 12, 13 April, today's date. I have a wrong week added here, guys. So ignore that and go for 13 April, today's date. So go for week 12, 13 April, today's date, and ignore the other one with the wrong date. So I'm just putting that upload file for week 12. And I'm just, okay. Go for today's date for week 12. Ignore the other one. Go for today's date, week 12. And isn't it week 13, guys, overall? So this means officially Humber is offering you 2 more classes. Are your other courses finishing on after 2 weeks? Okay guys, upload link is there. Okay, sure, we'll do that. Mariam. Other courses are finished? Seriously? Please sync the OneNote. Okay, we didn't have a class 1 week. Oh, okay. Shiva, yes, and the video. Okay. Kushal, there was 1 week DRS which was all theory. Yeah, that was a lab theory. So that is considered as lab. Kushal. And Mariam, thank you. Okay. So if we don't understand that, DRS and so all theory doesn't mean this is not a class. What do you mean by all theory? So this that was still a class, right? So right. Yeah, no screenshot for that's what you meant. Okay. No, not a single screenshot for that. Okay. In fact, thank you for reminding me that. So I would have given you 0, all of you 0. Hey, where are the screenshots? Thank you for reminding. I'm gonna put that. Hey, this was all theory. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Kushal. Thank you, everyone. And I'm gonna be there online for Wednesday evening, and 8 to 9, or you can just email me as well. But just read all the rules there and be careful and start on time. 8 sharp till 9. 9, it forces you out of the exam, right? That is a specific time. Alright guys, so is it on BB? Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Test will be available on Blackboard. Yes, guys, it will be on Blackboard, and it will be available exactly at 8 o'clock Wednesday evening. It will be exactly at that time available, and it will be available just for 1 hour. That's it. Right? Okay. Okay, guys. So good luck with that exam, and practice. And thank you. Bye bye. And give your exams, and the main thing is be more knowledgeable for your job environment, right? You need to get jobs, good jobs. So you need to be very, very knowledgeable about that. So concentrate on your labs and understand. Okay, guys. See you. Bye bye.